slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a day with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In the yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in that wonderful technical rainbow in between, we're finally here in the playoffs after 9 long weeks of the regular season in Titan Esports Immortal League. We've made it. We've got 2 more weeks to go, 2 weeks of best of 5s. The top 4 teams are duking it out to see who's going to come home with the crown of this split. I am What's Pretty, and joining me today, as per usual, my good friend and co-casting partner here, this split. It is Ozzy. How you doing today, Ozzy?
I'm doing so well. I'm excited. Semifinals, we've made it. 9 long weeks, by the way. We're kind of troopers for that, I won't lie. 9 whole weeks.
Well, you took a vacation week.
Yeah, okay, I did miss 1 week, but you also missed a week. So we're even.
That's fair.
We
That's
are
fair.
even. So yeah, honestly, it's been a banger split. I've been so happy casting Immortal. And both of these teams, well, they are second and third, so today, in theory, should be a good one. However, well, we have seen in the past many times before where the playoffs crash out just happens and it all comes crumbling down. So let's hope let's hope for both these teams are able to avoid that.
I think with the smaller playoff pool that we have, as Immortal did only have 10 teams this split, so we are just doing those top 4 teams. It's just semifinals into finals. I think there's a good chance that we will see maybe even no playoff crash outs. I think there's a possibility on the other side of the bracket, maybe 4th seed or 1st seed team just has a massive implosion, but 2 and 3, these are teams that I think people are expecting to kind of go the distance tonight. Either a 4 or a 5 game series is a lot of what I'm seeing in terms of predictions.
Yeah, I do think, well, for me, like initially, I was like, yeah, I feel like this SGR team should have been performing a bit better than they were, but
Mm-hmm.
they have made it to playoffs, right? And again, there's always that like ever-present pressure on the first seed to continue to perform, right? And I feel like for a lot of teams, not being first seed gives them a lot less pressure and a lot of time to just kind of breathe. Like they're like not in the spotlight for whatever reason. It's like completely psychological. But the amount of times that we have seen first seeds fall here in Titan, even going into like quarters or semifinals,
Mm-hmm.
obviously here at semis, you know, all because the pressure, and it's usually like a massive upset that happens as well. It's not like, oh, the first seed lost to the second seed. It was like a 5 game series, every game going. Nah, they get
It's
completely
like 8
stomped.
seeds
Like
beating them.
they
Yeah.
get completely stomped. So, uh, you know, uh,
I there's something about the mental, like, sort of like high horse you sit yourself in, the high chair of like, oh, we're the first seed. We're just expected to take this whole thing and win. We're better than these guys. We're just gonna take it easy. We're gonna take it chill. Everything's gonna be great. And then you get your absolute rocked in game 1, and you're like, whoa, hang on, we have to lock in. But you can't get locked in time, and then you just get walked all over.
well, I mean, there's also something like to think about in terms of like being first seed. You don't really usually lose a whole lot during the regular
Mm-hmm.
split, which
Our
means
first
it
seed
can
only lost
kind of,
1 game.
yeah, it could have you where you're like, yeah, I can't diagnose problems because teams will eventually catch on to your problems, right? And while they're of course losing and having to figure out their problems week to week, so they're staying in semis, the first team or the first seed can kind of be complacent, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they can afford to be complacent because they're first seed, and well, usually comes back to bite them. But we have second and third seed here today, so we should be getting a banger. 1 game separating these teams in match record. Orianna coming through, one of Neversaw's favorites, and also,
Mm-hmm.
well, just a great mid laner in general.
Yeah, I think we are having high expectations today for Neversaw at the very least. We know Fortnite is also at minimum, good mid lane. I think none of the players in this team I'm looking at and saying are immediate weak points. I'm not looking at any of these matchups and I'm saying, oh, it's really heavily favored one side or the other. But you can already see in terms of the target banning where the priorities lie. Gwen, Akali, Orianna, a lot of these solo lane champions are these first ones to go. So we're expecting Akira, Havoc, Neversaw, Fortnite to have these great performances. And Death Card's actually maybe a little bit worried about the champion pool of fails here, taking out Bard and Karma early on in this first phase.
Well, something that did get nerfed was the Karma. Very minimal nerf, though.
Late game shield got touched down like a tiny bit. Emax is
very minimal.
Slightly less good,
Very
but now
minimal.
you just go Qmax again, so you're fine.
Very minimal, but we'll see ahead. We have still seen some echoes of Sahungo coming through, which I'm still kind of not a fan of ever since he got
Mhm.
super nerfed, but possible here. Aurora has been rising in priority quite a lot. Usually, it's played as a flex pick between mid and top because it denies Rumble in a lot of drafts. Obviously, you have to play the Aurora really well into the Rumble matchup, because if you ever lose control in the Rumble matchup, you just die.
Rumble's gonna walk you down.
So, yeah, so you have to have the mechanics for it, which is sometimes
like the
difficult.
Poppy pick.
But I do appreciate this Poppy and the Abessa. I think also if they wanted to, you know, add in a little bit more, also can be a bit annoying for the Aurora if you do ever catch her going into her W, but it's going to be the Victor here. Mel, you know, is on the table, and usually we've seen Victor, you know, picked into it if this is Aurora top.
It isn't going to be the Aurora top. We're seeing the Syndra locked in early as the counter to the Victor, so it will be Aurora in the top lane, most likely versus the Sehen, unless we see Poppy flex to support and we do see the Zahungle. We are going to get the second phase of bans here. Vigar banning out a potential Vigar bottom lane, I suppose, as an option. I'm wondering what the rest of the bans will be. Death cards continuing to ban away the support pool. Nico's going to go. I imagine something like Nautilus or Braum might be the ban as well.
Interesting that they're banning Vigar away, because as it turns out, Vigar did actually get nerfed, and they tried to target it for like bot lane Vigar, where they nerfed his ult CD by 20 seconds, which just literally is just a flat out nerf to the champion, by the way, Riot. I'm not sure if we were
Pretty
aware.
huge nerf to the champion. 20 seconds is a long time.
You were also affecting mid lane quite heavily with that, but it will be the Varus coming in here.
Sneaking pretty late into the draft.
I am worried now that our draft might be in roll order.
It is possible that we're seeing it in pick order instead, or in a select order instead of in what they picked.
Nah, we'll actually, this is how the draft went down. I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, they just picked in order. It's always it's always possible.
I'm like looking like, man, we're just.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I will never flame producers because they do really hard work in the background.
Absolutely.
They always have
the reason why I shout them out after every single stream. They do the hard work.
Yeah.
We just do the fun part.
They always have my utmost respect, because I am literally the dumbest person when it comes to that. I literally just sit here and yap about League of Legends. So props to me. But honestly, nah, it's fine. We already see the draft. It's chill. Appreciate it though. I will say, so I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna cook here. I know the draft order here.
Okay, all right, cook. Let's hear it.
All right, so so first things first, for death cards, they're gonna pick. Actually, surely they pick Seraphine first or Ashe first, either one, and then SGR opted in for Varus and Bessa. Oh, I was so.
Oh my god.
Did get death cards right.
You were getting it. You were cooking it. You were cooking it. You got the Ashe Seraphine on the first rotation right. I like that call out.
So,
I am a little surprised to see that Aurora Ambessa was the first rotate, because normally you like to have Ambessa also be in that flexible spot, and there is such a thing as over-flexing. Like, you're never going to have Ambessa be top lane with Aurora not in mid lane, so as soon as you lock in that Syndra, which they did last pick there to counter out the Victor, you're kind of locking in exactly what the pick is going to be. It forces you into picking something else early, like your bottom lane. And in this case, it did work out because it was the Ashe Seraphine already kind of face up for them. But with the draft done, we're going to get onto the riff for game 1 of the best of 5 between Death Cards and SG Resurgence. It has been a while since I casted a best of 5. I'm so excited for this.
Me as well. Now, I would say that specifically here for death cards, I want to see them utilize the strength of the Ashe Seraphine, not like the lane strength, but specifically the strength of the pickability between the two champions. You have immobile carries here in the Syndra and the Varus that you can actually punish a lot, so I would really hope we actually get to see that come through today, but regardless,
carries in a lot of the lanes, actually. Looking at even Aurora, who only really has that between worlds from ability, You have Syndra Varus, who are super immobile, and then you also have Victor Ashe, who are not super mobile themselves. I like that both of the AD carries have taken cleanse in this matchup. It feels pretty necessary. One Enchanted Crystal Arrow, one Chains of Corruption coming out can really just end a team fight. So good to know that they're keeping themselves safe. I think we talked about it on broadcast a couple of times when we see AD carries not take cleanse, and we're like, maybe you know, playing versus Ashe Seraphine, you might want it in a game like this.
I actually I actually straight up crashed out on the AML stream because there was it was Ashe Seraphine, Amumu, Ari, and the support didn't first items Mikhail's, and they died because of it, and genuinely probably lost the game
I'm
because they didn't have
hoping
the
the
kill.
AD carry took cleanse at least. Yeah,
So yes, the AD carry 100% had cleanse. It
thank
was just
goodness.
older, but regardless, here for SGR, they don't have the best Mikhail's builder because they're playing Rel. And Rel, well, she did get some buffs this patch, most notably to her move speed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll talk more about why certain things are getting buffed in the future, but for right now, it is going to be the Rel. Although she does struggle quite a bit in this lane until she can actually get on top of the Ashe Seraphine, which in theory
Even
is
invade
impossible.
here.
But look at Mags here.
Yeah, Max is
Level
looking
3
for
already.
Vertigo. Max's level 3 Vertigo is not
That's
yet.
might.
Max just might be walking up to try and smite this away.
Oh.
He's gonna get the steal. Vertigo still level 2. Now has to fight the level 3 Max with a fully stacked Conquer. Phase Rush will get him some distance. Will push him back. And with the Cure rotating first, Havoc a little bit too far away, it is just gonna be the camp steal. But that's gonna set Vertigo back quite a bit.
I'm a little confused as to how Vertigo is still level 2. I genuinely did just miss it, so that's my bad. But unfortunately, this Poppy is going to be extremely behind. Going to lose both Scuttle Crabs. Now Fortnite is going to be getting ganked here. Should be able to walk away from the Abessa, though. Oh, look at the collapse, though.
Fails on the rotate as well. Could maybe look for a
Oh.
flash stun here. Maybe doesn't even need it. Nice scat of the week by Never Saw. Fortnite in trouble, and Vertigo still level 2. Now it's level 3. Can't opt over to help. And the red buff auto with Fails flashing over the wall. That's first blood to the Rel. Support gameplay.
Hey, I mean, good play here, and should be no collapse possible back. Fortunately, Mag's not going to be able to get this bot lane Scuttle Crab, at least not at the moment. We'll be helping out Neversaw push out her mid wave here. As I do appreciate junglers who can recognize when they need to come help their laners. But for matchup of today, I really want to focus here on our bot lane matchup, Bobby versus Duck. Both players proven to be pretty instrumental in some victories, both on kind of utility carries this go around, though. It is going to be Pokevarus.
Pokevarus, Ashe, the usual utility carry, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and all the slow she provides, just so good at setting a team up. But again, that immobility can be a problem as we're seeing the poke back. Bobby and Fails taking quite a bit of damage, and this is what Ashe Seraphine does. They play aggressive, they punish your missteps and mistakes, and especially on a champion like Rel, where your engage is your body. It's not like you're playing Thresh or Blitzcrank where you throw the hook, you miss, and it's, oh well. If you go in and you flub the engage, you can just die.
You can't just get completely run down, especially thanks to, well, Ashe's passive. Really annoying to play against. I remember
Permanent slows on a champion that slows themselves down. Not fun to play against.
Yes, as it turns out. I do remember as well, Ashe's toggle Q. So you.
Oh, back in the day when you had to spend mana to slow people. Oh,
it was
good
8
time.
mana. It was 8 mana and an auto there, but Bobby forced to cleanse.
Yeah, if you don't cleanse, Duck probably picks up the kill there, so good use of the summoner spell, but you just see the pressure that Ashe Seraphine can do, and this is why it was such an early rotate for death cards, as Muffin is just going to continue to chase them down, slow down these recalls, might even be able to pick up Fails here. A couple more autos will do it. One more, the heal being burned, traded by Muffins, but Fails has that summoner spell book, so we'll be able to pick something else up in time, but just delaying those recalls and giving Duck so much time on that bottom turret.
Yeah, I mean, also, they just lost an entire wave there, Brittany. It is completely gone. So, massive experience lead here for Duck and Muffin. We'll be getting their level 6 early, barring them losing an entire wave themselves, which seems pretty impossible considering Ashe is already back to lane.
Fails is going to have teleport after this top lane play as well. This is just good pathing from the SGR team to respond at the very least to the pain that was that play from death cards.
Yeah, and I mean, well, fortunately, gank nice. I mean,
nice
just
scout
so
of the
good
week.
at
Still ended up
Sunray.
using the flash, but good defensive move there from Neversaw.
Yeah, so good. Scout of the weeks, usually very on point from her across the board. Does unfortunately have to flash away, but at the end of the day, you're not dying. Oh,
Bobby
of that,
doesn't have the cleanse, doesn't flash in time. Vertigo with the flash body slam will pick up that kill. Mags will get the scuttle crab, but Vertigo wants to keep the fight going. Steadfast presence used on Mags, but no extra follow-up after they already used the crystal arrow and they don't have level 6 on Muffin, so they're just going to take the kill and turn to the dragon.
Nice early play, and again, utilizing the pick ability of something like the Ashe. Poppy also great pick champ. Poppy just gets completely caught off guard there. Nice flashy from Vertigo. Sets up the play. Enchanted Crystal Arrow on the back end, and it's a free kill. Poor Muffin, who is obviously the real carry here. Nothing to see here. Neversaw.
In a bit of trouble. Arcane Storm doing a bit of damage, but Fortnite doesn't have the mana to follow up, especially with that turret starting to ramp. That's another stun down. Fails now the one in trouble. No flash on the Rel, but looking for a re-engage. Vertigo says no. Denies it with that steadfast presence again. Good timing on that. But in the meantime, top lane, while we're watching the bottom side scuffles, Akira will pick up the 1v1 versus the Aurora.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, again, right, when you're playing this Aurora top, it is so difficult sometimes to pilot, because if you do mess up, you can very easily die. And when you're playing the Aurora specifically into a melee champion, you basically have to maintain your lead the entire lane. Otherwise, if you don't, you essentially are losing the lane, and now they're just going to be able to find constant angles on you because they can trigger it off. We'll get a replay here as engaging the bot lane on the picture is just simple.
It looks like it's just a scuffle, but
oh,
yeah,
never mind.
Akira just gets the engage, but on the bottom side, Fails is going to be able to turn that one around. Bobby will pick that one up, and now it's Muffins in a 2v1. Will look to trade back, flashes in and gets the one. Can Bobby follow up and get the kill? The Hail of Arrows down, the flash aid. This should just be a guaranteed kill with the piercing arrow. A nice pickup and a good turnaround for the SGR bottom lane. They needed that.
Yeah, I mean, desperate need here. Well, Duck, I mean, good stuff coming out of SGR's bot lane here. Because their top lane now bleeding is going to hurt them a lot. Akira utilizing the max stack of the determination, but we'll get the play here. Fails takes a lot of HP, flashes into the arrow, which is a bit unfortunate, but look, even with the Chains of Corruption getting insta-cleanse, the damage from the WQ from Bobby here is just too high, as Muffin, well, he'll just go down. Does opt to flash for that kill, and still falls victim to Bobby's own flash. But Bobby no longer having flash means he might be able to get picked out here in the future. Still has cleanse though, so will be at least a little hard with an enchanted crystal arrow at the very least as their only option.
Yeah, unless we see a long-range encore, but Muffin is still not level 6 yet. Still looking to get that last ding, and so is Fails. This is what happens when you're playing the pro play supports. You roam around a little bit too much, you play the map, and suddenly your AD carry's level 7, and you're still level 5 looking to get your ultimate.
Hey, I mean, who needs an ult? Fails, actually. Oh, Chains of Corruption, no cleanse.
Chain of Crystal Arrow, no cleanse needed by Bobby. Mag's in the right place at the right time with that public execution. Exhaust down onto Muffin just to make sure that Seraphine has no chance of escape. Keeper's verdict just barely off the mark, but it wasn't going to save your poor Seraphine anyway. I like the look from Vertigo, but just not enough.
I mean, the thing is, right, is SGR also have immense pickability, right? The bot lane immobility is getting punished hard here from SGR. Vertigo is a Poppy, so isn't the easiest target to kill. Does take a bit of damage, though, defending the bot lane tower. But as far as who was struggling really hard in the lane is no longer struggling. Want to point out some build variety here. there was a lot of math being done for Ashe, and well, Hex Optics has become her new best first item.
I'm really
Usually,
glad to see this. As a certified collector hater, I love Hex Optics because it is just better. We're gonna put that on pause for him to deliver it onto Havoc, but now Akira stuck in the 1v2 does have the determination stacked up, so Mags is just forced on the retreat with the teleport from Fortnite as well. Havoc waiting on the wings, looking for a potential turnaround here. Mags doesn't have the public execution, but they're gonna look to turn around anyway with the Between Worlds. But Akira makes it a 1-for-1, turns around onto the Money Girl and slaps her down.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, as a ranged character, you can't afford to really get hit by melee characters. And in reality, right, like, Havoc is just disrespecting Akira's healing there. Fortunately, goes down once more, but it is a 1-for-1. They do force Fortnite out of mid lane as well with the teleport, so he lost a little bit off of that play, even though he's up in CS. Again, very close game here between these two teams. SGR with the initial lead. Although they are down the jungle objectives, so that basically evens everything out in terms of gold here. They have both grubs and that dragon. As the second one, just spawning up here on the rift.
Yeah,
Won't be the
Infernal Dragon. One of those ones that everybody loves and hates to see because it means you don't get the Infernal Soul, but it is still a really good individual dragon to pick up, just that increase in the offensive stats. Neversaw gets a little poked down, but Fortnite not in too much danger here. Vertigo in the area. Looks like the teams are positioning here for this potential dragon take. You don't want to go down 2 dragons to 0, and if you're Death Cards, you don't want to tie up the dragon score 1-1, so it's just a matter of who's going to get first move and who's going to retain control of this pit.
Yeah, the hard thing when you are contesting into Poppy is Keeper's Verdict being just a pain to deal with. But we actually see about a level and a half lead here for Mags in the jungle. Level 10 to level 8. I know me saying a level and a half is weird, but that is basically what it is.
Fails, looking for the all-in with the Steadfast Presence, not there in time. There goes the AD carry. Keeper's Verdict will knock away the offense. And now a teleport in from Akira as well, but they got the pick they wanted. What can SGR do with it?
I mean, they're just going to take this teleport. I think they're going to give up the dragon, though, as actually Neversaw forced out in mid lane by Fortnite. So this is guaranteed dragon here for Death Cards. Breathing time for the Aurora, but about the play that happened, again, it's the Ashe's immobility here, punishing Death Cards. Disrespectful there for a play to happen. I know Duck having the cleanse is maybe a bit of a red herring. A little bit of a false sense of safety there, as it doesn't matter that he cleanses the chains of corruption, just instantly dies anyways.
Yeah, when the Magnet Storm and the Public Execution are on you, it's not exactly easy to get away from that. But it's also not very often that you see a team lose a member and then go get the objective afterwards without some kind of crazy steal happening. As Fortnite, he's going to be in a bit of trouble here. Mags should just have to chase down. Nice flash away from Fortnite. Fails trying to get in range for the Ignite, but it's not up in time. Fortnite walks away with a sliver of HP.
Man, that is brutal there. But they do get out the flash off of the Victor. And that means, well, Victor going to be able to get ganked very easily here if he's not careful.
Mags did also lose the flash, so a slightly more vulnerable Ambessa, I say, as she doesn't have 5 other dashes in her kit. So I think she's going to be fine. But the Victor, yeah, a lot more potential to be a victim. As we're seeing the lane states start to switch around here, we're decidedly into that mid game now. 80 carries are moving towards top side to pick up some extra waves. Look for the Rift Herald, as that seems to be the next objective. Already started up here. Fails looking to Hex Flash over the wall. Not into the pit, but just keeping an eye on Vertigo. Fortnite and Neversaw trading on the bottom side of your screen. Herald was leashed. Mags, nice dodge away from that Keeper's Verdict. Stun's gonna land, but the smite's there for Mags. Fails now will pull back in the Poppy. And Public Execution over the wall. Mags just landing these every single time. Fails in the front line, taking up that Arcane Storm. Will fall, but it will be traded his life for Duck. Muffin tried to chase down the members, but it's just to try and keep Fortnite safe, and there is no chance of that. Neversaw picks up the double kill. It's a huge turn for SGR.
Yeah, positive play here for SGR. Puts them at 3k gold up now. It's really just stemming off of the back, right? They try to go on the Varus. Varus has cleanse. No one's really in range. They Akira is tanking.
Akira!
Hello?
Tried to finish off the turret. How much health does that turret have? I have to know. That bottom of the turret has got to be a sneeze away from dying.
Also, I also want to see a replay of that last fight because I'm telling you, I don't think that Abessa ult should have hit at all. But I could have been wrong.
River, it's the displacement.
I could have been wrong. You know, I could be wrong. It just looks so far off, even for the displacement. But I mean, even for Duck, like if I'm Duck, I am genuinely, you know,
molding
the
out of your mind.
nostrils at that one for sure. But SGR now in the lead handedly here, as well, some gold is being given back as the bot lane turret does finally fall. They're off of a single auto attack. Might have even been a single minion auto attack coming through.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Fortnite was in range because he got the pop-up, but I don't know if he was the one to actually get the last hit.
But overall, well played coming through from SGR. They set themselves up now to be in a great position contesting these next few Drakes and 4 death cards because they're at 2 Drakes and, you know, they are kind of losing control of the game. The pressure for them is quite, you know, is going to be on, right? They're going to try and find their win condition through Soul Point. So they could force themselves into some pretty bad fights if they aren't careful. Although, again, this top lane matchup here for Akira, barring him dying to tower, is going great.
Thought about that happening twice. Akira is going to back away from the turret this time. Not as confident that he can 2v1 it this time around, but with that Stridebreaker in inventory, it's just such good wave clear from this ahead with that auto reset as well. Getting extra grass proc off of Havoc there. Havoc trying to play the range, but Akira with that dash is just continuing to step forward, get the grass procs, and is just farming health off of Havoc right now.
Ooh, never saw Knight's sidestep of the beat drop there. I think that's what. Okay.
Arrow. A little wide. Never saw. Now I'm feeling more confident to step forward, but Fortnite is right there. You got to be careful. Never saw. Nice movement to stay away. Looking just for the all-in onto Muffin, who's forced to flash out over the big wave. And now suddenly Fortnite is way out of position as Mags is in. Bobby will pick that one up. Fails, looking for the engage under turret. Maybe a little over-aggressive, but maybe not as they'll pick up one. It will be a trade support for support. I like the gusto there from Fails and continuing the dive.
I mean, I appreciate that, but look how much they're losing across for this play, right? They get 2 kills, that's great and all, but they're losing a lot around the map to make this happen. They lost quite a bit of mid in the top lane. They also lost their top tier 1. So, yes, the plays continue to be positive here for SGR, but in terms of, you know, gold plays, death cards are not doing too bad for themselves.
They're making the right responses.
You know, yeah, they certainly are. Well, they're still making mistakes. Like obviously that bot play is just an egregious overstay that got incredibly punished, but they at least got something out of it. Duck here with the Phantom Dancer now. We actually saw this in LCK 2 nights ago. At least that's when I saw it. I've yet to see last night's game, so my bad. Slacking.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
I chose to watch LPL first this go around. My bad.
I see. I do also want to point out Bobby opting for the Edge of Night second item here. You normally like a 4th or 5th item you see on the poke Varus, opting for a much more defensive itemization here. Doesn't even have the mana immune finished up to finish stacking. It's still on 260 stacks on that tier.
Yeah, well, this will be done soon here for the Varus, actually. Like, the mana immune will be finished. The tier won't be stacked up for a little bit more in the way of waiting, but usually you want to get that done. But overall, I do appreciate the Hex Optics here on the Ashe. It's a good shout. The bonus range is actually so helpful in terms of like helping you run down people in fights and giving you a bit more safety after you can net yourself that kill. But it's death cards right now on the back foot. Really haven't been able to find anything in the way of a positive fight yet. They've just simply been able to get some gold out of these towers, get themselves some objectives. That bot lane play did net SGR what would have been death card Soul Point.
Fails. Looking
Fails,
for
looking on the
Muffin here. There's that public execution as well. Magnustorm in onto 2. Muffins is deleted. Fortnite under turret, feeling a little safe to try and trade back. Fails taking a chunk of health, but this rail is pretty damn tanky. So we'll be able to just walk away from that. Nice pick. Are they going to turn to Baron for it?
No shot. I don't think they're looking mid, though.
I would have been surprised.
Yeah, they are looking mid. They are on a ward. So, Fortnite surely knows what's up.
Fortnite, you know this is happening. You can walk away. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, you never know, right? Like I say, oh, you know, you should know, but sometimes it's really easy to tunnel vision or miss something because you're like looking somewhere. I actually teleport behind Never Saw here.
Never Saw in a bit of trouble. Does have those tier 2, so it does have a little bit of distance. Now Kira suddenly stuck in the 1v4. Grim Deliverance. Stun's going to land on the mag, so maybe they can get something back. Akira just continuing down onto Never Saw. Can't get the last determination stack. Fortnite will pick up the kill, and now Akira has the determination. Will be able to revive. Havoc now, the one stuck in the 1v4.
Guards.
This Baron Pit flashes away between worlds. Hex Tech, front of belt, every bit of range to try and escape Vertigo with the flash and the charge to try and take him down. Heal from Fails, along with the stun.
Oh,
with the
nice W.
Will knock them down. Fortnite picks up the last hit. In the meantime, the other side of the fight, Muffins did overstay. Will get picked up by Mags on the bottom half of that. And a messy exchange, but it ends up with Death Cards in control of the map.
Hey, great play by Death Cards, finding the exact perfect play. Looked a little brutal though initially. Like SGR had the members early, but they just simply couldn't kill Akira on this Zahan fast enough. Even though even though, right, like it took him a while to get his determination stacks, he ends up still getting it and reviving. So at the end of the day here for Death Cards, they get the mid-tier 1, which is maybe not the best prize, but it's a prize nonetheless. They climb back a little bit of that gold to shave off about 1,000 of the lead that SGR had, and a positive fight should give them some hope back into this game. They're just going to have to find a couple more like that, especially, well, they look for it. Don't find it, though. Change Crystal Arrow is now down.
Arrows, but I think Duck should be looking for a little bit more consistent plays rather than the Hail Marys. You're not that far behind. You don't need to play like you're already losing the game. As Akira getting chased down here, he's going to look to turn it around on the Havoc. Now with Mags in the area, turning back in, has the anti-heal on. Can they deal with this ahead? Grim Deliverance and Public Execution and the Between Worlds. They're throwing everything at the man. Havoc finally will get his revenge. Is now in exchange in the mid lane. Duck, forced to use the Flash and the Cleanse, will escape his fate, but that was very close. I did also want to point out, Fortnite was the one to pick up the shutdown gold on Never Saw, so some extra money into those scaling carries for Death Cards, and the clock is kind of ticking for SGR. Varus is not going to scale that well. Victor and Ash scale decently well.
I think here for SGR, these looks on Duck have basically worked out every single time, and they continue to do it. I'm so shocked for Death Cards that they have simply just not been around Death Card. You know, like...
They said, okay, Duck, you're on your own. Good luck, buddy.
Like, Duck is literally just getting hardcore targeted here anytime he's alone. And usually you'll see a lot of teams, like, specifically into, like, a Seraphine. They'll look at, like, the Seraphine more often than not, because it's more pickable. But this game, it's been all about picking out the Ashe, right? Like, that's been the name of the game for SGR. And I feel like Death Cards really haven't found an answer to that. Teleport coming in from Fortnite to mid lane, though, is now they're fighting for priority. Looking like they potentially want to think about contesting the strike.
Already started up, though. Mags, it has already down to 6,000. Vertigo now in the pit, Vision being exchanged. But SGR still with control of the pit. They do back off pretty quickly, though. With Akira on the flank, they don't want to take the heads-up fight. They want to find a better angle for it. Akira just continuing to split push. Not really looking for the fight angle. I think has to be worried about the collapse at this point as the members disappear off the map for him. Confident enough to just take that turret, and now potentially in trouble. He's going into the face of 5 members. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will find one at the very least, but Akira is already gone as Never Saw has pressed the delete button. And Akira left out to dry. Did get that bottom side turret. Muffin looking for the encore. Finds 2. The stun on there as well. They'll trade their top laner for the support, and the Arcane Storm will get a little bit more damage. But that's really it. But it somehow is going to net Death Cards control of this pit. SGR are going to have to retake. Vertigo playing
against
pressure, playing
Poppy.
defense. Mags still has that public execution, looking for the big cooldown.
Keeper's
Stun land
verdict.
to the 1, but Mags wants in.
Oh.
The Keeper's verdict is going to send him out, and now Havoc stuck in the 1v3, but the piercing arrow from downtown. It's another 1-for-1 trade as Havoc falls as well.
Mags is
Thornrag on
back.
the front line, getting the laser damage down, trying to just poke with the death laser, but it's so much
Teleport
damage back
for
from the
Akira's
poke
up.
bears and the Syndra. Duck and Vertigo looking for a bit of a push here. Fortnite too low to really provide anything extra. Akira now has a respawn. Is teleporting back into the fight. This fight is going to come through. The execute from the unleashed power of Neversaw will take down Vertigo. Akira, though, will pick up revenge for his jungler, and Mags should be the next to fall.
Nice
A nice pullback by Akira, but a great stun by Fails. Grim Deliverance is just going to be a little bit out of range as Mags is so mobile on the Umbessa. Akira continuing to chase down Fails. Fails might end up dying here, but the Rel is so darn slow. Nice sidestep on the pullback. Will get through the gate and get to safety. Death Cards will end up losing the dragon, but winning the fight again.
Such a long fight here, breaking down for this dragon. Initially, it's Akira, like, kind of just, well, it might be Akira getting caught out again.
Havoc teleported in, Akira the one in trouble. Jada Crystal Arrow is going to find the stun onto Fails, and that might just be enough for Akira to walk out of here. Hextech Protobell in. Havoc really wants to continue this, but Akira just continues to walk out. Fortnite with the Gravity Well keeps him alive. Incredible stuff.
4 death cards, right? If Akira doesn't get picked out bot lane there, I think they have a really positive fight. The issue, though, is Akira is, and they also utilized a lot of ults. Vertigo, having the Keeper's Verdict, is kind of the saving grace for death cards. But SGR, well, they get the dragon. Yes, they lose a couple more members than they probably should have, but at the end of the day, it's another dragon for SGR. Gold lead, though, shrinking as time progresses here. Death cards now in a bit more favorable position in terms of gold. Here have been kind of like a really big highlight in terms of damage for them in these fights. He just got to avoid getting picked out on the side lanes, right? Like, he really overstayed for that bot lane tier 2. And I thought maybe he was going to go for, like, the bot lane tier 2 into, like, teleport away play. But instead he just tries to walk away, and his team kind of just did nothing with that.
Yeah, walking right into the enemy team that you know is rotating towards you is never really the best plan. Did end up working out for them in the long term, but maybe if he doesn't get picked out right there, the play goes a little bit different. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will find Fails, but it's not exactly the target they want. They'll take the heal off of the Rel, and Duck will continue to put the pressure down. You can see those the Hex Optics, the extra auto attack damage, that, what is it, 10% increased damage at maximum range, at 600 range, which most AD carries are sitting just around. It's so good. If you're ever an AD carry that I think most of the time wants to build Collector, build Hex Optics instead. It's just better.
I mean, really insane damage coming out. Of course, that's a support, though, so take it with a grain of salt. Fails is level 10. Okay, Fails
is level 10. That's fair.
Fails is level 10.
It was a good demonstration. 10 lethality is not going to do anything versus Fails, but 10% increased damage, that's pretty good.
Now, Baron Vision has been cleared out here, as SGR are just going to force the seeing Akira bot lane with no teleport. A mistake from death cards.
They know the Zahan ease without teleport for at least a couple seconds longer. The Baron take is not the fastest with the lethality Varus, and with Neversaw, focus more on defense than on the take, so 4 members have arrived. Stun is going to land, Fails, just looking for the engage. Muffin may be too far forward, but where's the rest of the following? Encore's going to land on it too. Muffins will fall, but Vertigo, with a massive Keeper's Verdict, clears the back line. They'll make it a 1-for-1 trade, and now they have control of the pit. The Baron's down to 5k. They're just going to come in and steal the pick. Mags tries to get in with the bug execution, but he whiffs. The one time he misses, he's going to net Baron for death cards. They'll run away with their boss, and Neversaw and Mags now trying to get some exit frags. They want to take as many buffs of these off as possible. Vertigo trying to kite out Akira, looking for a potential pick, as Duck is so low. They do not want to let the Ashe get picked, and everyone will walk out with the buffs. It's a huge turn for death cards.
Yes, I mean, the Keeper's Verdict. Playing against this Poppy champ can be so damn frustrating. What are you to do as SGR? You don't have a great person to tank the ultimate for you. And, well, 2 of them go off, and that's the fight win for death cards to allow them into the Baron. And as you mentioned during that fight, Mags, the one ultimate he misses the entire game, is probably the most important one for death cards, right? They needed that Baron. And now they're going to have the Baron for this, next Drake, which will give them soul point that they've been denied twice in a row by SGR. Mags, on his blue buff here, should be able to net this thanks to the Syndra being able to carry it a mile away. So no pick there, but great play from Death Cards, and more importantly, this Poppy Vertigo setting up the entire play with such a phenomenal Keeper's Verdict.
Yeah. As much as we're not clowning per se on Mags, but we're so sad about Mags missing the one important ultimate, the most important ultimate of this game so far. Vertigo hitting his most important ultimate of that game so far to clear out that backline and to just turn that fight from a 4v5 into, what was it, a 2v4? A 3v4? It was an insane turn of events to just instantly give them the advantage and then turn onto the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, also just, they were so confident as well. Like, even knowing Max could ult at any point because they saw the Enchanted Crystal Arrow miss, they just committed to the Baron anyways. And it worked out extremely for Death Cards. But I will say Death Cards' focus on pushing up the spot wave at this point is maybe a little bit too much. They're going to lose a lot of their Baron time now because their waves were shoved into them now, both top and mid, and they don't really have anything to play for bot lane. So they have a nice wave in mid lane that should be able to crash into the mid tier 2 that they should be able to pick it up, but that might be the end of their Baron. They don't even necessarily get this unless they hardcore play for it. They will. The Baron.
The Cannon Creeps are going to do so much work. They will end up taking that one. Baron of Cannon Creeps are still respectable. It's not the ZZ Rot portal killing a turret in 8 shots like it was
they're going to
back
get this
in
tower
the
too.
day.
I'm
they're
shocked.
going to take the top turret as well. That's huge turn. And Enchanted Crystal Arrow now. Mags is the one who's stunned up. Can they get a pick? Mags outside of the gravity well with a nice dash. Flashing in. Will find the charm. Havoc will fall. Mags and Neversaw on the run now from the Arcane Storm. Bobby trying to provide poke over the wall, trying to provide some sort of wave clear, but the Baron's still up for a couple seconds longer. This turret is going to go. They're going to look to push for the inhibitor as well. And suddenly, the Baron buff that was looking kind of stalled out, Death Cards turn on a dime and take the base open.
Oh, well, it's not over yet. Seraphine just healed all of their HP though, so...
Yeah, Seraphine is providing a couple of Ruby Crystals every time that she presses the button. Grim Deliverance in from Akira, but it's just too little too late. Mags finds the public execution that time and will take that pick. Bobby over the wall, super low at HP, but Neversaw has found Fortnite with the Unleashed power. That's a big shutdown gold over to the Syndra. Mags and Neversaw now chasing the members out of the pit. Neversaw made an interesting decision there. We're not going to talk about it. Vertigo and Duck and Muffin all on the run. They'll manage to make it out. The Baron push was good, but a nice turnaround from SGR is going to keep them within spitting distance of this game.
Yeah, a bit of an overstay again by Akira. I think just over aggression coming through has been pretty common of him so far in this game 1. But Death Cards get much more out of their Baron than I was expecting. I thought SGR were going to rotate their members to defend that tier 2. But now they just let the tier 2 fall in their face. And even they lost their top inhibitor here as well. So this Baron paid off immensely for Death Cards. Enchanted Crystal Arrow won't find Neversaw in the mid lane. But, I appreciate the attempt, and of course it did hit Bobby. You got the
spell shield off. Time that spell shield cooldown. It's really important, guys.
Yeah, you got to make sure, you got to run up mid to make sure it can't pop back up again. But one thing I want to highlight from that last fight is, there's been this kind of jokingly conversation going on Twitter about Enchanter supports, if they just pick Nautilus, they'd win more games. Well, if Muffin can find engages like that, who needs Nautilus? Okay,
who needs Nautilus when
that was
just
insane.
Flash over Seraphine. You're so
that
right.
was insane. Like predicting Havoc was going to Proto Belt plus W to hit his ultimate perfectly there with his flash was so well played. Honestly, things of legends coming out from Enchanter players. If you're on the side of the engaged supports, I suppose, in the argument. But honestly, just really well played by Muffin. Can't give more props for that. But look, Akira might be getting picked out once more.
Yeah, Akira playing aggressive on this bottom side.
Out?
He's a little out of position, but I think he's unspotted right now. He's looking for a massive flanking onto Bobby and Havoc. They have no idea. Havoc is going to get caught up by the stun, and Bobby's going to get pulled back to Zonya's just to watch his 80 carry die. 2 kills over to Duck, and that might just end the game.
Akira just pulled out the craziest flank by simply just walking through the enemy jungle.
That he's just better. He actually just avoided every pocket of vision they had, walked into the enemy team, said hello, and took 2 kills. What a man!
That encore, it's fine. You get one of those every game, but
You
Fails...
get one every game. Fails is going to get poked out here, is going to get caught by the stun, but I'm not sure how much that matters. The first Nexus turret is already the target. Akira tanking up the damage from Never Saw. The wave still alive, so the Nexus turret's still under fire. Open Nexus now, 5v3. SGR, if you're going to make the play, it's got to be now. But Vertigo does not want to let it happen. Fails with the all-in engage. They'll find Never Saw, and they're just going to walk the game down. Death Cards take game 1.
Man, it felt like they just did not deserve to win that game for a while, but in reality, it's SGR just... They had the blueprint of Duck, but as soon as Duck stopped dying, they lost all control of the game. Akira on the Zehen. A highlight here for Death Cards. Yes, he was over-aggressive. Yes, he died in the side lane for being overextended. But let's be honest here, right? Akira did so much work in so many team fights.
Yeah.
When they did happen here for Death Cards, kind of carrying the damage until Victor and Ash started scaling into that game. And then we saw Akira in the game with that flank, right? Like, that flank was absolutely legendary, and it wasn't off the back of a TP. He just walked. He just right-clicked through the enemy jungle and found the perfect flank to end the game. For SGR, though, here's my opinion about Aurora Top. Okay?
Right,
because I actually saw this in an ACL yesterday. Decoy picked it for his second time into Rumble, because again, that's the Rumble counter matchup. But it's also the second time he lost his lane because he got solo killed. If you are getting solo killed as Aurora Top into a melee matchup, you need much more time on the champion, because as soon as you lose the lane, just like I said, you lose full control of the entire lane. And yes, the Aurora did 24,000 damage. Well, great, she could pop her ultimate, so that's kind of fake. She's hitting 5 members in every team fight 9 times out of 10, okay?
I sure hope so,
Like,
at least.
she didn't add anything for their team this game, right? Like, if she's winning top lane and the Zehen can't play, it's a completely different story here for SGR. But because the Aurora lost to Zehen, Zehen's only 2k down on a range champion. And Zehen, historically bad into really long range champions because he can't get on top of them.
His dash is pretty short range, yeah. I think the
So-
other thing to think about this is Havoc has now picked that one away from Akira, who is a noted good
Yeah.
Aurora player. So in the best of 5 now, assuming this game goes 4 or 5 games, that Aurora in the back pocket won't be available. And that's the other thing about these longer series. It's not the best of 3 where you lose one champion, it's okay, I still have like more than half the cast left. It's fine. Suddenly when you get to game 4, game 5, that pocket of champions available really starts to shrink.
Yeah, I think also, specifically because of Fearless, you'll actually see later in series a lot of like prio bans start to fall off because teams need to start picking those champs, right? Obviously the Aurora won't be there, so we'll see if we'll see if Akira's champ pool can hold up here as we get later into the series. But at the same time, we might not even make it to game 4 because Death Cards, they had a pretty early game and realistically probably shouldn't have come back. Never Saw on the Syndrome was doing a lot of work. Bobby as well on the Varus, like I said. You know, they did great this game, right? Like Ethan Mags on the Ambessa, again, unfortunately, the one important ultimate he had to land this game, and he had
Just didn't
landed
land it.
every single one before it, right?
And all the ones after too.
Just unfortunately missed at the most critical time, which again, in reality, he shouldn't be in that position. But sometimes that's just League of Legends, and you just lose all control after that point. SGR go down game 1. Death Cards, though, I
Yeah.
mean, that was a great turnaround. I'm really, that was really exciting. Muffin on the
Good team
Seraphine,
play.
you know, able to pick off Havoc there on the top side was fantastic. I mean, Vertigo also hitting that insane Poppy ult to even set them up for that Baron play.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
so many things went right here for Death Cards at the perfect time. Perfect
Yeah,
storm,
we'll have
if you
to
will.
see if things continue to go right for them. Coming into game number 2, we're going to cut to a short break while we get the draft set up. We'll see you on the other side for game number 2 between Death Cards and SG Resurgence. See you then.
slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the
Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ourselves ready for game number 2 between Stasis Gaming, Resurgence, and Death Cards. I'm still pretty. That's still Aussie. And what a heck of a game 1 that was, huh, Aussie?
Yeah, I mean, it's just SGR having the lead initially, and it's not like even scaling came into play. Death Cards just simply played a little bit better when it mattered.
That incredible flank angle from
I
Akira.
mean,
Wow.
so many things that happened in that game that were just the perfect storm of events for Death Cards that led to that victory, which in theory, if you are SGR, you could just dust that off as a fluke, right? Like, how many times are you going to find yourself in a position as unique as that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no Poppy now, so you can't get double keepers verdicted around like a Baron fight. Which means Mags won't have to try and find a public execution into the Baron pit to try and go for the steal, and then also them losing the team fight. How often are you not going to have your jungle warded to the point to where Akira can just simply right click all the way through it and get behind your mid lane, like your mid laners? Or I said your mid laners, but in general, the people who are playing mid to even
Your bot
find,
later, yeah.
like, yeah, like it's such a rare thing. Of course, some of it champion related, so we won't be able to see the Poppy thing happen ever again. But still, a win is a win for Death Cards. They'll take it for sure. And also, they can definitely turn it around in the lane phases, right? Like, it was Duck realistically kind of allowing Bobby to get a lead because Duck was just getting picked constantly in bot lane, which opened up the
Some
door.
of that not entirely his own fault,
his
I
fault.
will
Yes,
say. I
yes.
think maybe a little abandoned by the team here
Yes.
or there. But when you're playing in a mobile gated carry like that, you kind of just have to take the L when your team is not helping you and just say, hey, my team's not around. I don't know where the enemy is. I just kind of have to stand under turret and wait for the wave to hit me.
Yeah, or just give your life for the wave, which
Give your life for the cause.
which did happen. Now again, so if that is not a problem here for Death Cards, and Akira was initially already winning, I think could be a pretty good game 2 here for Death Cards. They can just solve some of their lane phase issues, but I think we have KMK, don't we? Maybe, perhaps.
We do. Before we get into the draft and before we see what's going to happen there, we do have our standard here at Titan Esports Immortal. It's Kiss, it's Mary, and it's Kill, and some divisive opinions on High Noon Hecarim. But for everyone else, it seems pretty solidified, except for Loki, who wants to kill the forest for some reason.
Well, you see, it's Horse Week, which is the most dreaded times, the most dreaded of periods in KMK. For me, I wanted to kill all of them. Okay, let's just put it out there. I would have killed all 3, but
it's a coward's move.
But the reason I'm marrying Winter Blessed Hecarim is I just deeply love the Winter Blessed skin line. I think all skins are just beautiful, Hecarim included. The effects are just so great. Like, I love that basically every champion has some kind of like Aurora Borealis effect. It feels so great.
Winter Blessed Diana, my beloved. One of the better legendary skins out there. I also just like the winter season as a whole. It's my favorite season. Then it's fall, then it's spring. I hate summer. I'm gonna be honest. I hate feeling too hot. It sucks. It's part of why I'm killing High Noon, because it's cowboys, and I always associate cowboys with the desert, with the south, with heat. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. Also, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna take a stand. Cowboys are overrated. They're not even that cool. People always argue cowboys, samurais, knights. Cowboys should not be in the conversation. Get them out of there. They don't belong. The producer making some interesting points. I'm not going to say valid or not, just interesting points.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm like that, like, eyebrow raise emoji. Like, you know what I mean at those comments, but there's our K&K for the week. Hopefully we're not greeted with another horse week, please God. anything more.
Knowing our griping for next week for finals week, there is most likely going to be a horse week. As our producer did say, and I quote, "There are enough Heck Room skins that I can do it again."
Please, no Horse Week, please.
Now, I will say, coming back to League of Legends, the games that we're playing, not just looking at the pretty skins, sides are saying the same for this game too. Are we expecting any out there picks for game 2, or do we think it's going to stay relatively similar, sort of meta kind of drafts?
I'm hoping, okay, specifically for these drafts, that I'm hoping here, at least for SGR, I appreciated what they did. They had a lot of pickability, right? The Abessa, you had the Varus as well on the back of it. But I felt like Rel really didn't fit that vibe, and it obviously struggled a lot in the lane. Like, if SGR's bot lane was not able to bounce back with kills, Bobby could have been completely out of that game. Like, it could have been completely disastrous for SGR on the bottom half of the map. And it's even a wonder it happened in the first place. But let's see if Fails can kind of adapt, because again, you know, the Rel did get buffed. Maybe it was kind of like a misread, like, oh, maybe, you know, the Rel buff will allow us to play,
now.
You know, but very much not. And at the very least, especially when you're playing like a very heavy pick comp, going for something that's like more great at like a team fight scenario where pick comps don't necessarily thrive in front to back might not be the ideal, but we'll be the Bard ban away here, which I appreciate. Bard still incredibly strong in the right hands.
Nico is first pickable and is going to be the grab here for death cards. I think this is a good call. Nico's still an incredibly oppressive support. Matches well with a lot of AD carries in general, is pretty flexible, and it's just good engage, good crowd control, good utility. It's just a good champion overall. I will say I like this pick into it, though. You can take advantage of the clone just to gap close a little closer and get in range for that Solar Flare, the ultimate, but still, Nico just feels like one of the better engaged supports out there, and it feels like kind of better Leona sometimes.
Also, I'm a little shocked we haven't seen Ezreal. Ezreal's been really popular in the meta. Like, a lot of times we see Ashe Seraphine trade for an Ezreal lane. Will be the Nico Nocturne pairing, though, which is oh so annoying to play against, because you cannot see where Nico is, and that is kind of like the one thing that you can kind of play around. Hey, there's the Vigar.
Vigar that was banned away last time will be picked this time. No Orianna to combo with it, as they did ban it away, so it will deny Nocturne Orianna for future games as well. They're going to split that pairing up. There's that Ezreal that you were talking about. He's going to be the grab for Bobby, I assume. I don't know how I feel about Ezreal plus Leona. Ezreal does feel, as much as he's oppressive, like levels 1, 2, and 3, like level 6, Ezreal is not really the all-in champion you think of that like pairs well with Leona. It's not like your Samiras, your Tristanas, the ones that are like, we're gonna flip lane level 6 and we'll see who wins.
Well, before we had some Ezreal Karma shenanigans, it actually used to be Ezreal Leona, because you actually can get a lot of damage out because your
absolutely
is going to be confirmed, barring the minion trolling, which can happen in the bot lane. But it does set up a lot of your damage, and because we are seeing lethal tempo just about every game for Ezreal, you have so much damage if you can, you know, build up your passive, because it kind of double dips the lethal tempo plus your you get so much attack speed that you have a lot of kill threat here in the bot lane. So it's going to come down to whether or not what this AD carry pick is going to be. That it's going to be the Xayah, I think. Interesting choice here with the Nocturne Nico. I'm not necessarily sold on it, but
there's a lot of engage and rundown for SGR, which I like the Xayah into.
But I think, yeah, this is an insane.
I love this pick.
This is an insane comp from Death Cards. Like, I think SGR has basically no in onto Xayah this game. Oh, it's Kog'Maw mid. It's Kog'Maw mid.
We're going Kog'Maw mid lane versus the Vigar? I mean, I think this used to be a counter pick back in the day, because AP Kog'Maw would just clear the waves and stay far enough away that Vigar couldn't stack. I don't know how I feel about this.
I saw a Kog'Maw mid go absolutely nuclear in one of the games I casted last week. I think it literally was the Point League finals here. So they went absolutely bonkers. Let's just say.
So it has a chance. And it's less rundown that runs into the Xayah, which is good. I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on it yet because I'm looking at this Death Cards composition. I see Nocturne, I see Shen, I see Nico, and I see Kog'Maw having a really bad time into those picks. Ezreal has a little bit of mobility. Aatrox and Jax, they want to be kind of in your face. They don't mind the melee. Kog'Maw, if you get on top of him, he's neutralized. You're going to kill him, and he's going to be taking advantage of his passive, we'll say very nicely, but not much else.
Well, so here's the advantage of Kog'Maw mid. Now, the one time I did see it last week was the Dusk and Dawn variant, where, man, you remember, like, Crowny building, like, cooking up this build with, like, PTA, and he would go Dusk and Dawn first. Well, it's kind of like that, but the amount of burst you have, because A, your ability to scale with AP, you're also getting ability, you know, AP off of your items, and then you hit your W, and, you know, Dusk and Dawn is kind of this unique item that actually makes your W useful as AP Cog, whereas, like, AP Cog kind of had that problem where his W was essentially completely useless, right?
Like, it still wouldn't be good.
You know, your W is, like, basically worthless. But with Dusk and Dawn, that problem is completely fixed, and you have so much burst, you might be able to just simply one-shot just about anybody coming here. Especially
you're starting to sell me on this.
So, we'll see. I am worried against, like, the Nocturne Shen combo, because what can Bro do against that? But there is some hope, and it will be the Dusk and Dawn with PTA, so W ball knowledge.
We've seen PTA, so we're going to have to see if that Dusk and Dawn does come out, as we're on the Rift here for game number 2. Again, sides remaining the same, but the comps very different this time around. You see that double lethal tempo for Mags and for Bobby, and on the other side, it's double Conqueror for the jungler and AD carry. I've seen Xayah flip back and forth a lot between Conqueror and lethal tempo, as Never Saw walks a little far forward, does end up losing that Ghost, but it's just the Ghost in trade for health bar. And Ghost, fairly low cooldown, but it does mean no teleport for this Kog'Maw in the mid lane.
We are very lucky that there was no CC from Death Cards level 1 there. I cannot believe Never Saw had the gall to even walk up that far as a Kog'Maw level.
It was gutsy. It was gutsy.
That was insane. But what we will see here, Kog'Maw getting the early lane priority against Veigar. That's to be expected, of course. Veigar very weak early. Now, Duck should, in theory, be on the back foot in this lane until level 3. So not very great. Yeah, double Duck here in the bot lane because of Muffin being
Man, if only there was someone in this game named Goose.
I know. Wouldn't that be pretty crazy?
That would have been it. The lane I think I'm the most interested in is actually this top lane, because Shen is not a champion that you see super often nowadays. He's been getting a little bit of resurgence. Everybody saw that play that Broken Blade made on the G2 game in the 1v3. He made Shen look incredibly broken, so I expect we'll see a lot more of him. But with the teleport changes, I assumed this was a champion that was going to be seeing a lot more value for things exactly like this. Taking the aggressive trades, you have to respect Shen early because he can bring Ignite. He doesn't need the teleport.
Yeah, especially now that you get a free teleport off of your quest, which is just so insane. Broken Blade, I mean, it's to the point that every LEC team is just respect banning Shen too, which is, you know, something that rarely happens. You know, you really rarely see respect bans of certain champions versus teams by every single team.
Normally there's a team or two that will let it through because they think they have something against it.
Yeah, but that has been a pretty consistent thing. They lost to it once and said never again, and it's been that way ever since. Now, I will say here in the bot lane, pretty quiet one here. Would have liked to maybe see the Leona level 2 come through to try and punish out this bot lane a little bit, but probably was W start by fails, which is obviously not bad. Saving HP as Leona is great for your all-in potential later. Zenith Blade does go in.
Looking for the Zenith Blade in, but it's so difficult with the clone from Nico just denying a lot of the damage from Ezreal, and a great trade back with the Feather Pull and Muffin getting that root off. So Bobby and Fails will trade heal for heal with Muffin there. So the health bar trade ends up being in favor of Death Guard's bottom lane.
I will say, right, like, there's really no reason for SGR's bottom lane to play in a straight line like this. They actually need to play separated from each other because it gives value to the Nico and gives value to the Xayah, right? So it's kind of double bad. Nico with the root,
Zaya's Blade Caller.
Fails. Looking for the all-in. There's that clone again from Muffin trying to deny out damage. It will be a more even health trade that time, but the potions in favor of Death Card's bottom lane is just going to net them a little bit more of an advantage. The quiet bottom lane suddenly turns on as soon as Leona feels confident enough to start stepping forward.
Yeah, not going their way though. Havoc in the top side. Out a bit of experience here, which not ideal, but yeah, I mean this is
Yeah,
really
just
not
can't step
ideal.
up. Never saw potentially looking for a kill on Fortnite here. Press the attack is procced, and that's a lot of damage back onto the Vigar, but no ghost up, so no chance to chase that one down. It will just burn the TP from Fortnite, most likely, assuming that he wants to burn it here. But the wave in a decent enough spot has a chance that maybe he wants to save it. You'd have to look exactly at the laning phase there, or at the state of the lane there to see whether he wants to or not. He will opt for it, try and save that wave. We're going to have to keep our eyes on this top lane to see exactly when Akira hits level 6 and where does that first ultimate go, because that is going to be very key. Every global ultimate, you have to say that first one where that long cooldown kicks in, it has to be a successful play. I want to see him hook up with Vertigo or Muffin and make a play happen.
Also notably, right, specifically since there's no teleport on this Shen, whenever he does choose to ult here, assuming it's before his quest, which is probably going to happen, he won't be able to teleport back up top, right? Havoc is going to have free reign in the top side. So if it doesn't pay off, it's double bad, right? Like it's not only like the super long cooldown, it's the fact that Akira can't get back to top lane very quickly, but it's trading very heavily here onto Havoc. Havoc, like I said, down.
Havoc will start to get the comeback. Vertigo finds Mags. Mags forced to flash out. Taken under half HP, just taking the flash off of the Jax. Not much else playing on to happen there.
Maybe potential dive onto Havoc here. Level 6 should be going the way towards Vertigo on the Scuttle Crab. It is the level 6 Scuttle Crab spawn, so he's waiting for it. Was just sitting there. We'll pick it up now. As should finish at any second here. There it is, level 6 unlocked, but he's going to walk towards bot lane. It's actually...
flash forward never saw, but I don't think this is the play you want, because now Vertigo, level 6 with the Paranoia, is getting all in. The Primordial Burst! First blood to Fortnite.
Never saw flashing in there. I mean, we are Kog'Maw. We don't have, like, the craziest burst damage yet. Maybe a little over-aggressive there. Also, should have known that the Nocturne was top and was for sure hitting 6 off of that crab. Maybe the assumption by SGR is that Nocturne's backing there, but simply does miss in the bot lane. Bobby. Oh! Muffin flashing forward!
He'll still use, fails, wants to continue this play. Muffin potentially in trouble, stun's gonna land, Mag's looking to get in range, not even needed. The damage from Bobby, but fails, goes a little bit too far under turn, and now Duck, level 6, is gonna force the flash out of the Ezreal. Bobby not level 6 yet himself. And the play is messy, it ends up being a 1-for-1 support for support.
Well, Bobby doing a bit of damage there on the Nico. Kind of unexpected kill, I won't lie. Hero opting to not use the Stand United for that play, but it's Death Guards with an early lead here. A bit of an over-aggressive play from Fails onto Duck. Gets himself killed there. Duck now with a pretty sizable lead in the spot lane, although it is even in kills. So, Ezreal going to have an immense 2-item power spike, one of the strongest in the game currently. Whereas the Xayah, well, she kind of needs some items to get going, comparatively. Doesn't do too bad on 2 items, though, herself. More so about how many feathers you can get out and pull back, kind of being your claim to fame. But I will say this Vigar, who, you know, in theory outscales just about anyone thanks to his infinite scaling, getting an early kill into that Kog'Maw could mean that this Kog'Maw pick doesn't pay off for SGR.
You need time on that Kog'Maw to scale to get your items. I haven't seen as much with this Dusk and Dawn build, so I'm not sure how big that first item spike is going to be for Neversaw. We'll have to keep our eye out for that. Akira already picking up that Bramble Vest is going to make Havoc's life a little bit more difficult. Nice dodge on that Q3 as well. It's the auto trades back, and this is why Shen has been so picked recently, why he's been so strong. You have to respect how good he is in the 1v1, even without having a combat ultimate to actually try and force any sort of pressure.
Oh my goodness.
Duck wants to force this with the ultimate, still lands the stun and the pop on the pop Blossom. It's gonna be Bobby trying to pick up the kill of the Muffin who's walking away, but it will be the AoE from Fails picking up that last hit. In the meantime, top side, Vertigo will pick up one as my phone falls down, but don't worry about that. It's just the 2 kills traded for 1 across the map in Death Guard's favor.
Yeah, I mean, they get the kill bot lane. They also get to kill top lane. Something that's been happening a lot recently is players will get pushed off of their tower, right? But instead of staying under tower, which is their best case of landing, Neversaw is going to be able to walk away from Fortnite Q. Almost connects there.
I think if that Q landed, that may have been
it would have been very close. Yeah, it would have been for sure very close. But actually, I'm not sure because I think the damage caps out at under 20%, and Neversaw was definitely already there. But
it's either 20 or 30. I always forget to remember exactly where the execute is because it's different for every ability. We did see Mags there showing his face in mid lane, just making sure Neversaw has a decent time clearing out that wave, forcing Fortnite off. Well, they're popped up here on the top side. Akira just trying to sidestep these Q procs, getting away from them so damn well. The healing, the Ignite's down, but there's no way to finish off the kill on Havoc. But you'll take the World Ender trade for the Ignite every time if you're the Shad.
Yeah, I mean, Kira's looking maybe to cancel that back.
Don't do it to him.
Havoc does not panic though. A lot of players, you'd see, oh, he's walking up to the tower, he's gonna dive me and panic. And that would have given Shen enough time to like get the wave shoved under and then be able to actually dive, but no hesitation from Havoc there on his base, just presses B and just channels it out. So it doesn't go down, but the Aatrox is bleeding top here. And, well, this Jax pick in the jungle not paying off so well either. Already 2 KP for this Nocturne, both coming off of his paranoia. One, probably he shouldn't have found, but Neversaw decided it was time to donate it. Neversaw decided it was time to go in as the Kog'Maw. Respect. I got respect for the play nonetheless, even if it wasn't. And, of course, we have all the information, right? So, again,
we
maybe
see more than they do, but Neversaw probably should have been aware. People know nowadays that second Subtle Crab does get junglers to level 6. But I think the big deal here is I haven't seen this build in a hot second. I'm going to put that on pause as Fails potentially looking for an all-in here. Does have the Solar Flare, but not opting to use it. Just looking to force them off the turret. I haven't seen this build in a hot second. The Shurelya's first item on the Vigar. I feel like I haven't seen Vigar in competitive in a hot minute. I'm wondering if this is still the build path or if we're just dropping back to old patches in terms of what we need to build.
Usually not the build, but I actually love it this game. I think there's a lot of use cases for it. Of course, you look at SGR, they want to be going forward for the most part. Well, you can use Shurelya's to get yourself and your team out of that situation as Duck.
Fails. Over the wall into Duck. Solar Flare's not going to find any value. Fails forced to flash back out over the wall. Bobby forced off by Fortnite. Whoa, there's that paranoia with the Shen ultimate. Muffin flashes in, finds the 2-man on the Pop Blossom. Bobby's going to be able to get himself out, but Mags cannot. Never saw another one in trouble. Pulled back by the feathers. Duck will take that kill, and Fortnite will find a double off the back of Fails. A huge pickup for Death Cards as they maintain full control of the early game.
Yeah, and now, Shen wasn't even able to join that. It actually got canceled, so he wasn't even there. Just toppling. So, but the shield's still instrumental nonetheless. Vigar stack check looking at 140 right now in mid lane as well. SGR are in a horrible position right now. This Vigar now 3-0. The Xayah also 3-0 as Havoc
in a lot of trouble here. Ignite a couple seconds away for Akira, wanting to stall this one out. Umbral Chains won't connect, but Havoc still with the World Ender on, trying to get some heals. Knows Mags is in the area, maybe trying to bait Akira into an all-in, but now Akira has overstayed. Still level 11. Teleport's going to be used by Fortnite, and immediately Havoc and Mags back off, and they say, hey, we got what we wanted out of the play. We're leaving.
Yeah, good stuff. Havoc doesn't go down, right? And they get out of the teleport, so burning away some minions here. Now Akira looking for it, finds the solo, flashes out away from Mags. Clean play by Akira to pick up the solo kill. Man, I mean, this top lane matchup is just so brutal for the Aatrox now. 1-0-3 on the Shen. It is just so disgusting play against as Aatrox. You were down
He's got the
so
Titanic
much.
Hydra. He can wave clear now too. God.
It is so hard. They're even putting their Kog'Maw top now and forcing the Aatrox into the Vigar. So that's where we're at here as SGR, which, needless to say, they're down 6,000 gold just about. They are just having a bit of a rough one in this early game.
Paranoia into the top side. Never saw, no flash, no ghost. This should just be a dead Kog'Maw. They'll give it over to Akira as well, who teleports in just to say, I'm helping.
And this is my fear of Kog'Maw this game, is you can't really side lane. Unless you're under a tower. Never saw decides to push the wave up a little too far. Nocturne with Paranoia says, hello, I'm here. And Kog'Maw with no sums just dies. So, while I do appreciate looking at these like more unique looks and things like that, maybe this wasn't the game for Kog'Maw, because you did see the Nocturne. In fact, I think this Kog'Maw was last pick, so...
yeah, this is why I wasn't super sold on it in the draft. We saw the Nocturne, we saw the Nico, we saw the Shen, all of these picks that Kog'Maw, especially AP Kog'Maw, tends to struggle into because of that immobility. And we're seeing exactly why that struggle can happen in a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, also, right, like this Vigar, who, scaling champ, is 3-0. Xayah, right, has an IE at 15 minutes.
IE Hex Optics at 15 is absurd. Oh no,
like,
Havoc.
Screw Ezreal. Oh, well,
Dust
Havoc
Trail
forced to pop the ult. We're good.
Yeah, Havoc forced to use that ultimate. Duck trying to get some pressure down on this mid lane turret, but Bobby doing a good job of clearing out those waves. Speaking of clearing waves, Akira's going to press the Titanic Hydra button, and the wave is going to disappear. Not even needing the button, he's just going to auto it. Maybe a little bit over-aggressive, though, as now, suddenly, Never Saw gets a free solo kill, Akira. What are we doing, buddy?
Hey, that's the damage I'm talking about from Kog'Maw, though. It is very deceptive. You get to do so much damage here as Kog'Maw with this item plus PTA. And Drakes are split even, so SGR aren't entirely out of this game. It's actually...
Mags! He doesn't end up getting the Herald either! Oh, it's a disaster for Mags!
I was just about to say, you know, they're going to be able to trade objectives here, but, well...
No, they are not.
Duck and Muffin decide they're going to rotate up and prevent that from happening. It's Fail's dead.
Paranoia in, Fail's stepping up way too far. The baby cage sets him down. Shot Barrage is just spell shielded away by Vertigo, and now with the Herald, they're just gonna say hello to this mid lane turret. Muffin wants to be the one to take it, maybe looking for some style points, looking for a potential opportunity to engage, but nothing doing there. Baby Cage lands though. Bobby forced to flash out. Primordial Burst tags him for a lot of damage, but it's just gonna force the Ezreal to dash away, and that will be the tier 2 mid turret going in favor of Death Cards.
This game is so dominant towards Death Guards. It is actually just insane how fast they're pushing this game. We didn't even make it to 17 minutes before mid lane tier 2 fell. Okay, that is absurd
this
numbers.
Game's a little out of hand.
Absurd numbers here, as well. I worry here for SGR because in reality, this Ezreal is still so far away from second item. Xayah is working on her third item. And it's not like her second item was cheap, okay? We are not looking at a cheap second item. This is IE. This is like the pinnacle for crit builds.
Duck taking a lot of damage there, but Muffin immediately wants to turn it around. His couple on the top side as well. Fails. Forced to use that ultimate defensively. Duck not able to finish that one off. Fails will walk away. Now Havoc into this 1v1. Healing plenty, even through the anti-heal. That's Shojin doing plenty of work for him. But how do you trade versus the Shen? He still has Ignite. If Havoc walks up again, he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think if I'm SGR, we're going to disregard this game, but last game as well, right? He actually got the counter matchup, and, well, I say counter matchup, or less of a counter into the Sehen than, like, something like the Rumple. Because Sehen can still kind of punish you out. He has his dash plus his W, right? His W is actually really easy to land when you E. So, but still, right? We've now seen Havoc lose top lane twice. I'd really like to see him in a really positive matchup.
Muffin
Never Saw
has found Never Saw, and that's what you do when you don't count minions. Muffin will die, but it's an execute. Never Saw never even touched the guy. Oh, it feels so bad for SGR this game.
Yes, and they don't even find an engage themselves here as Havoc is bot lane to clear the wave.
Which means Akira is top lane to take a turret.
It is just disaster and disaster and disaster.
Max is 3 levels down. I don't think he can stop this from happening, and I think he may actually die in this 1v1. He's going to look to turn it around. Grandmaster's Might, plus the Counter-Strike, is doing plenty of work, but now the Ignited Cure, forced to flash out, has to respect the level 2 ultimate from the Jax, but now Duck on the other side of the fight with Fortnite goes dominating. A root lands onto Havoc, but he'll be able to walk away in time. Primordial Burst already used. Bobby walks into the baby cage, though. You cannot be stepping on those walls. Duck is now unstoppable. 5-0 on the Zaya.
Yeah, I mean, this is just from bad to worse to even worse for SGR, as they're looking at 9,000 gold. 9,500 gold, almost.
We're looking at that. They can't see that.
Oh, they're definitely counting the number, I'm sure, in their head. They definitely know how much gold they're down, or close to it.
They can feel it.
Look at their bot lane jungle. Like, the entire thing is warded. You can't even walk through here without getting sniffed by the enemy, like by the enemy team. Tail's gonna clear out some of it now.
Difference? And I was looking at jungle 1 item versus 2.5, and 80 carry 1.5 versus 3.5. That similarly doesn't feel great.
Hey, don't worry about it. Okay.
Ezreal's
about to spike, guys. Ezreal's about to spike. All right.
Yeah, when he builds that Vayne immune, he's online. He's there.
He's about to spike. He's definitely going to outspike the 3 items with IE.
For sure.
He will outspike.
75% crit with IE with the Devori as well. Oh, this is just, it's a trouble game for SGR. And at a certain point in a game like this, you start thinking about what do you do in game 3, especially in a best of 5 series like this, when you're already down 1, you're immediately set to match point. You have to start thinking, how are we going to come back? What are we changing in terms of not only the draft, but our gameplay? How are we going to be able to mount a comeback in a game like this?
Well, as I mentioned, I've not been too keen about
Mags looks to get a pick, but he's the one getting picked. Vertigo has spotted him out, and the baby cage just to deny movement. Fortnite does not want him hopping through his minions or his friends, and that's just a quick delete on the jungler, and DC is just looking at the Baron.
What I was going to say before Mags got picked out is it was going to be a comment about Havoc and Mags. I initially was talking about, like, I think Havoc needs to win lane. Like, that's number 1. Number 2, Mags on this Jax. Ooh, they might find Vigar here.
Yeah, Shen ultimate there, stand united for Fortnite. He's so damn tanky with the Seraphs as well. And now Fails is the one who's caught out as Fortnite will go godlike. The Baron is smited nicely there by Vertigo. No steal from Bobby, and the game continues to just get worse for SGR. Games like this can be so demoralizing if you're playing them out.
Yes, indeed, but at the same time, I mean, it's kind of a two-sided coin, right? It can either be really demoralizing, or you can just be like, well, this game's lost, and then you save mental, you know? Like they could already be checked out of this game, and kind of the difference between 2 players. Now, they aren't going, oh, they're gonna know. Oh, he's gonna...
They've caught him with the Dusk Trail, and now Havoc stuck in the 1v2. It's a more favorable 1v2 than he could have, but he's not going to have a chance to play it out. Doug now godlike with the QSS in inventory as well, just to make sure there's no potential chance of getting caught out.
I do not want to alarm anyone this game, but Duck is a higher level than Havoc. Havoc is level 13 right now. You can't see it because he's dead.
That's bad.
But if the top laner with the top lane quest is behind in experience to the person who plays with 2 people in the lane, splitting XP.
They're going to look to make a play on the top side here for Akira. I'm getting shades of Broken Blade here. I think Akira might have been able to dash in there instead of out, as Mag's already under half HP. But with the lethal tempo and the passive stacked, does not want to risk anything. But while they're pressuring the top side, their bottom lane is getting opened up. That's an inhibitor down at 23 minutes as Bobby and Fails are just kind of forced to watch, as if they walk up, it's a baby cage and it's a pop blossom waiting for them to go. Stand United not available, but the teleport is for Akira. They might just look to end the game here. Paranoia in. They're going to look for a potential engagement with Buffett, finding the 3-man pop blossom on the backside, and that might just do it. Havoc forced out under half HP. Max is already gone. Duck trying to get the damage down with the Feathers Fly. Will finally pick up that last hit. Has to flash away from the Arcane Barrage from Neversaw, but the Kog'Maw just not doing enough in this game. And Death Cards now with dominating fashion, taking this game in under 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, insane performance after what we saw last game, right? Like, I talked about Duck and Muffin needing to, play a bit better in their lane. Well, hey, 8-0-4 on the Saya. Duck did exactly
Pretty
what
good.
I wanted, Death Cards to do. But it's actually Stasis Gaming, right? Like, it's Neversaw's aggressiveness getting that initial lead for the Vigar. It's, this Ezreal Leona failing to get anything done in the bot lane. In fact, Xayah walking out of it deathless this game. Completely and utterly unstoppable here. And you look at Akira, who has now gotten the better of Havoc, in my opinion, 2 games in a row, which there's a lot of problem solving I think we're going to need from SGR. I think Mags on the Ambessa was fantastic, but you look at this Jax game, he's doing support damage. Like, you can't. This Jax really failed, I think, and I would have honestly maybe have put the Jax top into the Shen, because it was, you did, well, I guess they did wait till the very end of their draft, but the thing is like, you could have maybe put the Jax right top instead, or kept open your flex pick instead of R5ing Kog'Maw mid. You could have picked your mid laner, and then, you could have kept the Jax flexibility open, so you could have put the Jax into the Shen, right? And that's a bit of a better lane, because you can completely prevent the Q damage coming through from the Shen. Of course, you can kind of hold on to those Qs if you want. But again, better of a matchup than the Aatrox matchup would have been, I'd imagine. But at the end of the day, Death Cards, they just got better in this game.
Yeah.
Like, they just simply got better.
They kind of they woke up and they locked in after game number 1 was a little bit rough, and it doesn't really feel like SG Resurgence was really ready for it. Unfortunately, they just kind of they took belt this game. There's a saying in football, sometimes when a team just gets absolutely mollywopped, it's belt to ass, and that's kind of what this game was.
Yeah. I mean, okay, but look, the Kog'Maw damage was actually good. Like, there is, like, proof here, like, the Kog'Maw mid does work. Is this the draft to pick it in, though? Probably not.
Maybe not into the Nocturne,
or if it was the game to pick it, maybe not flashing in on top of the Vigar as Nocturne hits level 6. Maybe.
Yeah, that might help.
And to give some credit, right, we all know Neversaw is a very popular M600 mid laner for a reason. She's incredibly good. So, those mistakes are very rare from her. So she can bounce back. Like, she's not out of the series at all, and who knows, maybe we'll even see the Orianna left open by potentially a ego inflated Death Cards after a quick 2-0.
Yeah, they're feeling confident, up 2-0, setting themselves to match point now. We potentially get down to our last game of the night. We'll have to see how that goes. When we get to the draft on the other side of this break, we'll see you then. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for what could potentially be our final game of the night, our last game of semifinals. Death Cards stands on the precipice of locking their ticket into finals to play either Final Boss or Mint Menthol Light. That's still Birdie, that's still Aussie, and this has been a heck of a series, from game 1 being very close, back and forth, hard fought, to game 2 being a shellacking, a absolute mollywhopping, belt to ass stomp.
Yeah, I mean, you put it perfectly. Belt to ass is not even an understatement. That is exactly what happened here. In game 2. Game 1, though, much closer, and SGR leading majority of that game, so they're definitely not out of the series. They've shown that they can easily come back, and also, kind of prove to be a force to be reckoned with. They've shown it this season, right? They've made it this far. But it is going to be difficult. A very hard and arduous task is ahead of them here if they are going to make their way to finals, as they're going to have to force a reverse sweep here, which...
No room for mistakes.
Yeah,
if they want to take the series, they need 3 in a row, which is not an easy ask, considering how good Death Cards have looked when they're on. Game 1, it was back and forth, but they've had some incredible plays to keep themselves in the game. And game 2 was just all Death Cards. As we get into the draft for game 3, SGR will be taking the blue side for this, finally swapping sides here. As so far, with the first ban, it remains unchanged, and I know how you feel about bans staying the same when you swap sides.
I've kind of made my peace about it, because in truth, right, especially when there are priority picks, things like the Orianna, that's fine, right? Like, also, do you really want to give Akira a Kali after what he's been doing? No.
Or Gwen, for that matter.
You definitely don't want to be giving him that comparatively, what's been going on this entire game, series. I do think here, though, for SGR, biggest question is, can they actually get, over some of these jitters a little bit in terms of, their lane phases last game? All of them lost. Every single lane was losing. In game 1, it wasn't the case, but specifically Havoc has lost every single time. So there's a lot of pressure here in my mind if you are, if you are SGR, right? With the Bard first pick here for Fails, who has been on majority of these engaged supports, we are going to get a bit of a more unique look here from Fails, which Fails also known as quite of a decent Bard player, but it's going to be responded by with a Caitlyn.
Are we just going to get the Caitlyn Karma Slam? I think that would be really good just into Bard and whatever you can pair it with him. Because no matter what, you're not going to outrange that pairing.
You definitely aren't. So it will be the Caitlyn Karma here. Again, Karma with a very minimal nerf. It's, again, not crazy. I promise.
When you max shield, you get, I think it's what, 20 less at max rank? 10 less at max rank? And with the heal and shield power, you barely feel it.
It is literally not at all, I promise, it is not that crazy, right? So, I will say here, yeah, I will say that specifically here for Death Cards, we're going to have a decent comp already, and it's actually going to be the Hecarim for Horsepeak, which, well,
surely.
Vertigo, I mean, Vertigo
more like Vertigo.
Of course, our producer who sets up KMK is so happy.
So happy to see Hecarim. I'm sure now cheering on for Death Cards to complete the sweep at the very least. We're going to get into the second phase of bans. Kassadin and Garen going away. SGR continuing to try and force Akira out of that comfort zone, pull him away from the champion pool, but how many bans can you throw at this guy before you say, yeah, he's just got a champion Ocean, and he's going to be able to play whatever he wants?
Yeah, I mean, well, you could... there's some cope potential, okay? I won't lie. There is some cope potential here. But I can't lie, it is looking a little brutal for...
Plays the blind pick mid, okay.
Specifically for SGR, right? They're putting a lot of faith in the Aphelios. They're playing Aphelios Bard, which not really the most known pairing, but they do have a really strong topside here in that Wukong Ornn that they can kind of rely on. Very reliable champions. You know, so, and we're gonna get the Ari. So for Neversaw,
Okay.
Neversaw has been very instrumental in terms of a lot of teams winning because she just pops off and there's nothing any team can really do about it. We'll see if that comes into effect, and it will actually
Ooh.
be the Yorick into the orange. Some
Oh,
spicier
wow.
picks here on the back end for death cards. Let's see if it pays off here, because they might have set themselves up for failure should things not go their way.
Yeah. If you lose a game like this and you go to game 4, you're thinking about Fearless bans, it doesn't feel like you're losing that much with Hecker and Yorick, but you're also losing Caitlyn Karma, which is a great bottom lane 2v2. You're losing Hui, who is a really good standard mid lane mage. You don't have access to Ornn and Wukong, two great engaged topside champions. Ari, again, one of those standard mid lane picks. But Death Card's obviously feeling confident to pick a composition like this. I like Hecarim paired with an Enchanter. It's similar to Xinjiao, where having an Enchanter just sort of enables him to kind of play whatever game he wants. But Yorick is not going to take part in any team fights if they're playing, I think, the way that they probably should. He's just going to sit on the side lane, and he's going to make Ornn's life absolutely miserable as we get onto the Rift here for game number 3. Before anything even happens, I want to call out Havoc again, pulling off this strategy on Ornn, taking just the refillable potion and buying Doran's shield on that first wave. I love seeing this. This is good tech.
Good tech, but a lot riding here for Havoc to play well. Definitely has been the least consistent member here for SGR in this series. Needs to really step it up. Again, long climb for SGR if they want to make it to finals here. And, well, if it's going to happen, usually it's going to happen around Fortnite or Bobby popping off, and both are on champions that can do so, right? Fortnite playing something like the Hui, that's pretty pickable. You know, he missteps, gets charmed up. Max comes mid, well, gets hit by a Cyclone. That's a very dead Hui. So they can get stuff going early for them, although they do need to wait a little bit, right? Like, it's not going to be happening instantly here. But the more patient they are, definitely not the worst. Level 2 already for Death Card's bot lane, which is no surprise that Caitlyn Karma are winning that, because it is Aphelios level 1. So
yeah, Felius level 1 not having an ability, it turns out, really weakens your laning phase, and only just having the extra bit of AD or lethality, depending on what you're maxing first in the early game, not doing you the most favors. We see Caitlyn Karma winning lane as they should. Good little shield there on Muffin just to make sure that Duck doesn't take any extra damage. But I expect this early game to be fairly quiet outside of just some poke. I don't think we'll be seeing a lot of action until the junglers really take part. Ari Hui is not going to see a lot of solo kills. If Yorick gets solo killed, top lane might just be doomed. And bottom lane, it's going to be a lot of poke. Duck and Muffin are going to make life miserable for Bobby and Fails, but they shouldn't end up dying in this laning phase.
yeah, hopefully we'll see in this game that Vertigo, the value out of the Hecarim, can be kind of difficult in competitive play to have that immense value. Usually thrives on chaos and more of the solo queue-esque kind of jungler. Utilizing his clear speed and clear timers to kind of just force the enemy jungler to lose tempo. Decent trade here from the Hui. Something I was going to talk about, today was Riot is moving towards a direction of buffing champions towards their like fantasy of the champion, buffing things that are more unique to that champion rather than just spreadsheet fiending. As Mag's making his way towards the top side here, we'll just take a recall. But now I will say, right, like that could in theory provide us with much more counter picks and kind of solve the issue that Fearless hasn't solved, and I knew it wasn't going to solve. It's the fact that, yes, while we're getting more unique champions, we're actually still not seeing a huge variety. We're seeing about like the same number of champions picked at international events than before.
Vertigo.
Havoc now is the one being ganked all the time.
Havoc. Nice timing by Vertigo to get away from the brittle.
Oh, they
The
did
Kira
mess
looking
up,
for the
though.
last hit, but they just don't have the damage. No mana on the Yorick. Means that Havoc will just lose the flash, but will survive the gank.
Yeah, does have teleport, so it doesn't hurt too bad. But look at the wave state here, actually, for Havoc. Not necessarily the best. Akira taking a
Teleport.
later recall. Will be able to recall back as... Or teleport back, excuse me. In this top side, but I really thought that was a dead Ornn, but just not enough damage there. And
Good
Akira...
time by Vertigo, too. He played the counterplay correctly.
Yeah, they did. They also had the max wall timer, right? Because it took both 2 Ornn auto attacks there, so... Basically played as well as they could have been from death cards, and they still weren't able to get the kill. Unfortunately for Akira, just did not have the mana for his Q to finish that one off. And they obviously, well, something that's been a plague in M600 is diving Ornns. It has literally never gone well, and they rightfully stepped away before it became a bigger issue. But for Havoc struggles, right, in this series, he's playing the perfect champ
Yeah,
to
exactly.
continue struggling on, right? Like, you'll always provide, you know, usefulness to your team in the way of your masterwork items. You know, you get there, get your ornaments printed out for your team, and you have great users of that. You know, you have the Aphelios is going to make, you know, bunches of usage out of your ornaments. You have the Yari, right? You have the
Hopefully
Wukong.
into the edge.
You know, you have so many good champions on your team to utilize the ornaments. Early Dragon will be going the way towards death cards, which makes sense. No priority bot lane, thanks to the Caitlyn matchup. And of course, the only time Aphelios really gets to trade is with green, because green is Caitlyn range. So, unless Caitlyn makes a mistake, which is possible, it is possible.
It's always possible.
So, Max looking though, top lane. We'll get level 6 off of this crab. Akira.
Yeah,
In danger.
Kira, now the one not respecting. Call the Forge God. Havoc looking to turn it around on him. Gets the knockup, and now Max at the level 6. This should be a dead Yorick, but I've seen Yoriks live these. Nah, not this time. It's first blood over to Mags. Nicely executed on the gank. Punishing death cards in the same way that his mid laner got punished.
Vertigo still level 5, actually. Because of the dragon, loses out a little bit of tempo there. So is down some experience. So no level 6 here for the Hecarim.
It's that second
But-
scuttle crowd. You have to get to it.
Yeah, but at the same time, right, death cards do pick up that first dragon, getting them dragon stacking. Bot lane still doing really well. Duck is just
Fails.
sitting here auto-attacking the bush.
Taking a
Oh,
lot
Bobby's
of
level
damage,
6.
but Bobby, level 6,
Oh my
with the
God.
chakrams, you gotta respect that damage. Muffin will go down with
Oh.
Bobby. Now the one to fall as Duck has the lethal tempo stacked. It's 80 carry traded for support, fails. We'll be able to get out of here. The ace in the hole doesn't do that much damage early on in the game. But that's a fairly positive trade for the Death Card's bottom lane, actually, in the end, I think.
Yeah, I would have maybe liked to have seen Duck hard focus
Ooh.
this lane, but you are worried about maybe Mags coming down. Not really sure where he is, I would imagine. Fortnite holding this wave now, but trade 1 for 1, no flash on Bobby means, well, the Aphelios incredibly gankable now for this Hecarim, which wasn't present before the flash. So we'll see if maybe some of this pressure from the Caitlyn is actually alleviated here for the Aphelios intentionally to try and get him shoved up to try and gank him, because again, a behind Aphelios is a sad Aphelios. As Duck gets back here. Caitlyn is just barely ahead though.
Now it is red and white. You normally don't want to fight that, but you
Oh.
know Bobby doesn't have the ultimate. And there's the Stampede from Vertigo. You called it seconds before. The Aphelios is gankable, and by God, do they gank him.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby, again, like I said, they didn't even need to intentionally set it up. Duck was literally just getting back to the lane. I'm so shocked Bobby had decided to push out his wave that way. He could have just held the wave where it was, but instead opts to push it out by himself, fails, not in the area to even help his AD carry, and also
white wants to
Bobby
fight.
burned Ghost for this as well. So
Oh, yeah, that feels bad.
he won't have Ghost. He's so gankable here. Again, like Hecarim ult's going to be back before his flash. He won't have Ghost for it either. And, well,
Ace in the hole.
fails pretty low. Man, this is
Chunk
just
out
so
of
brutal.
fails. Yeah, Muffin is going to
Oh.
eat some extra damage. As top lane, Akira died in the one.
Uh,
Why are we not
Erm.
respecting Ornn damage? Guys,
Erm.
we've been through this. You don't 1v1 the Ornn early game. It doesn't happen. Come on. What happened
Erm.
up there?
Akira, well, goes down. So this is the first time Havoc has actually gotten a lead in topside. So Let's see if he
on
can
the
hold up.
It's on the tank that's meant to lose lane, guys.
Hey, look. For SGR, right? Havoc winning lane is great, right? Because yes, Ornn usually a weak side champion. Charm will land in mid lane, just some poke on Fortnite though. But the more ahead this Ornn is, the harder it is to deal for death cards, right? Like the Caitlyn's not gonna have a whole lot of tank damage until much later in this game. Fortnite is playing Hui, who has a pretty bad early game. Let's just call it that. Pretty bad.
He needs
Especially
either
when
2
dealing
items
with
at
an Ornn.
least, hopefully more.
Especially dealing with an Ornn. So you definitely do not want to see this, Ornn so far ahead that your Caitlyn, who's super snowballing in bot lane, can't deal with it. Is actually Tempered Fate coming through.
Tempered Fate finds the stun as well. Bobby with the last remnants of that red and white into now green and white. Gets rooted up though. Duck doing plenty of damage, but you've got to respect the Aphelios damage. Moonlight Vigil doesn't land, and now the Ace in the hole trades back. Fails will tank that up, and now Muffin maybe looking for the kill with the Inspire. The Inner Flame takes down the enemy support.
And now they're gonna die. Bobby, he still has no flash here. Look, Vertigo has the ultimate.
Purple.
They are going to think about it. Play for this next wave as
If Bobby walks up, he can just die, but Vertigo, I think, wants to
Vertigo.
just take the waves instead.
Mags is here as well. Yeah, Mags is here.
Yeah, with Mags in the area, doesn't want it.
They are fighting
Maybe
right
wants to
now.
trade with Mags, actually. Is just looking for the 1v1 here. Mags used that clone to get over the wall, so just has to eat a chunk of damage. Duck, not super healthy here. Has to respect that Aphelios with the green can match the range and do a decent chunk of damage, but just going to be forced to walk away and get that recall.
Well played by Vertigo to just drop this ward. And knowing Neverslaw sitting in that bottom bush as Havoc.
Havoc's going to eat some damage here, but I don't think Akira's really threatening at this point. He's 2 levels down.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But here's the benefit of picking Yorick into a tank, right? Like, Yorick's early game is pretty bad, but he gets better, on his, maiden level ups. Because the Ornn is basically never going to be able to kill this. Fight in the bot lane, though.
Forcing the dash out of Fails, but now Vertigo just bait into the backline. Mags forced to use the Cyclone defensively. Fail flash over the wall, but there's no chase down. Vertigo will just turn to the Dragon and will take that instead. And Death Cards just force the issue in the bottom river, call the bluff of SGR, and take the Drake, take the fight. And now on the top side, Akira, I think you're in trouble here, buddy. Nice flash to get away from the call of the Forge God, but low health, low mana. Ornn is just beating the brakes off of Akira right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's down so much at this point. But as I was mentioning about this Yorick matchup is, in reality, right, he gets better. His healing gets better later, right? Maiden becomes more and more of an issue on tanks because it does max health damage, as it sucks. But you need levels in it, right? And if you're behind, well, you aren't getting levels. So the Ornn able to just body the wife here.
Akira just looking for something. Is Fortnite with the teleport in as well. Havoc overstays. And Fortnite on a good recall and teleport timing is just going to take a free kill.
Yeah, doesn't miss anything in the mid lane either. Picks up the red buff as well. Now, if Akira ends up overstaying top lane himself, might be a bit of problematic. No Cyclone here for Mags, though. So I don't necessarily know if this is going to net into a kill, but he doesn't have a flash or mana, so he's definitely going to be stopped.
He's just teleporting out. Mags doesn't have the Cyclone, so it will just be away. Duck forced to flash away from the Temper Fate, but it's going to land regardless. Now Never Saw the Charm tanked up by Muffin. Great positioning from the Karma there, and now Fails is the one in trouble. Onslaught of Shadows not available for Vertigo, but he doesn't need it. The Rampage takes down Fails. This horse is unbridled.
Yeah, this whole bot lane play, by the way, is only possible because Mags shows top lane. If Mags is not there, right, I think they might have just left Duck to die, but it's actually first turret going the way towards death cards. And yes, while they're, this Yorick was bleeding a little bit, now has the CS lead in the top lane, stabilized some of his experience deficit. Bot lane is so far ahead here, if they can just hang on to it, death card are going to be in a brilliant position moving into the mid game.
Yeah, Akira now level 11 with that Trinity Force now completed. He's a lot stronger, and Havoc's going to have to be a little bit more careful in this 1v1. It's just going to be a matter of how long can Yorick keep the Ornn around at this point as he's transitioned from lane bully into just split push. as the lanes and the game state pretty in favor of Death Cards, despite I think how well SGR has been playing this early game. As Bobby, you are alone without a turret. He's got red and white, so maybe he can fight. And Vertigo, upon seeing the onslaught of shadows miss and the teleport in, will just say, hey, no thank you, and walk away.
Also, it is red-white. Like, I don't necessarily know if Vertigo wins that. I kind of won't lie.
There's a reason why they say red and white do not fight.
You know, with the ultimate coming through from white, like, you get so many chakrams. I don't even know if Hecarim is winning that. But if you're connected, maybe,
this
right?
Is another
but
turret for Duck, by the way.
yes, yes, like they are bleeding so hard because the pressure, right? The teleport from Neversaw bot lane, the cover for Bobby. Right, Bobby had both sums as well. So I think in reality, like sacrificing your mid tier 1 for play that maybe this Aphelios could have lived.
Fortnite is starting to do damage now. Neversaw really has to respect this, and now with Muffin in the area, Spirit Rush is going to be forced out of Neversaw. The Severing Bolt will not land. Nice sidestep there. Neversaw not getting caught by that one, but it's just better map movements, I feel, from Death Cards. They just have control of the map as Duck is going to sidestep the Tempered Fate and fails, was paying too much attention to the enemy AD carry, and not enough to his own health bar. And now Vertigo gets to helicopter away, maybe a little bit too far forward as that's shut down over to Mags, and Duck is now the one in trouble. Kite towards your support, Kite towards your shield, the flash, the heal in, Muffin, the GOAT, keeping the AD carry safe.
Yeah, the one time that you can't kite towards your, well, yeah, like, look, they're bleeding so much across the map. Look at the Spiraling Spare does miss in the bot lane there, so Neversaw gonna be okay, but Vertigo does maybe disrespect Bobby a little bit too much there. Again, this is Aphelios with red-white, and also utilizing the Severum ultimate, which gives him so much healing, keeps him up, and keeps him alive in that entire play, but this is looking reminiscent of game number 2. Despite Akira losing top lane, he now is completely unbothered with his wife on a vacation in top lane.
He's in his lane, he's moisturized, he's thriving, he's not looking at the rest of the map, he doesn't care, he's playing Yorick! And as soon as he takes over bottom lane, he's not going to care any much more either. As looking across the map, Shirley is now completed for Muffin. It's 2 items for Duck, the Infinity Edge and the Hex Optics. And we were mentioning how good these items are on Xayah. How about a champion with more range that can take even better advantage of that Hex Optics passive? It's not going to get much better for SGR. They're going to have to find a way to get onto this Caitlyn and to shut her down.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm SGR, I'm going to pull out the Jesse Pinkman. He can't keep getting away with it. Because Duck now looking like the same stat line from last game, same items as well. Obviously, will not be building Navori third here. But this Caitlyn is so strong right now. Max, oh, nice
Walls
flash.
don't land from Akira, but he's forced to flash away from that onslaught of shadows. Duck caught, charm up with the net, buffered away. Call the Forge God will catch him, and Muffin, the one in trouble here on the front line, is going to get picked off. Now 4v5. How much can Death Cards get done? Mags with the Cyclone only finds one on that first knockup, but has the second one. Severing Bolt on the back line. Bobby able to survive it. Neversaw also on super low HP, trying to get the burst down onto Fortnite, who just needs one little bit of poke. Doesn't manage to get it. Neversaw will survive on the other side of the fight. Havoc is walking away as well. Fails looking to try and pick it up on a Fortnite. Havoc will fall under the turret. Moonlight Vision from Bobby will take the kill, but Mags will steal it away from him, and now fails. And Bobby and Neversaw will die to the rage. The long arm of the law comes in the clutch.
Yeah, I mean, Hex Optics gets so much value this fight. Duck, it initially was the play to go on to him, but just barely. And I mean, we're talking milliseconds here. Ping could have been the decider. Neversaw just barely mistiming the charm allows Duck to actually buffer the net. If Duck gets hit by that charm, there's hope for SGR, right? Like, just in time, but Duck continues his reign of terror in this series. 7-0-3 on the Caitlyn. Last game finishing on the Xayah 8-0-2. Now doing half health to fails just about. Let's look at the teleport here. Duck
stuck in a potential 1v3. Doesn't have the flash, but does have the barrier. I think this should just be
oh my
Duck.
god!
But he's gonna take Bobby with him! Neversaw will pick up 1,000 gold and shutdown, but that's so demoralizing. The enemy Caitlyn just walks into your face and says, hello, goodbye, you are dead. Charm's gonna land onto Fortnite, but I don't think he cares that much when the Onslaught of Shadows comes through, and Vertigo will take down Neversaw. Mag's now the one in trouble. Boy, looking for the extra poke. It's a double kill as Fails tries to save his AD carry by stopping Muffins, but he gives his own life for it. Vertigo trying to chase down Mags, but he doesn't have much room to go under the turrets. This horse, again, unbridled, unsaddled, on a rampage.
We could just take a look at bot lane real quick. Yeah, perfect. This is perfect. Now just look
In the
at
meantime,
the peaceful,
Akira.
look at the peacefulness of this play from the Yorick.
Akira's playing PvE. He doesn't care. He does not
killing.
care.
His team is winning the fight 5v4. Doesn't matter. Actually 5v3 even, or I guess 4v3 because Duck did trade. But Akira just pushing the bot lane, gets a tier 2 quickly. Now chasing down Max, who is dying to his minions. So, SGR are in a absolutely horrid spot, being down 2 games in this series, best of 5, of course. Lose this one, they're out. Finals no longer in their grasp. They're going to need to find a monstrous comeback into this game if they have hope to even remotely have a chance at getting to finals, let alone, you know, going to finals, because they still, even if they were to come back in this game, they have to play even better in the next 2 games because Death Cards have looked completely unbeatable in this series.
Yeah. This is game 1 gave us the idea of a close series. Death Cards struggling in the early game, SGR taking advantage, but fumbling in the mid and late game, and Death Cards taking advantage of their mistakes and pressing forward. But these games 2 and 3 have put a totally different story on the rest of this series. It has been Death Cards the whole way. From minute 1 of game 2, they have taken advantage and have made life so difficult for the carries and even the tanks of SGR. They just don't have anything that they can do.
What's crazy, right, is the amount of pressure Death Guard's been able to put on. Look across the board, right? I was like, oh, you know, Havoc getting a lead on this horn. It's ornaments, right? They have great ornament users. But look, there's none outside of his own at the moment.
That will be extra levels, and speaking of, he's going to be able to walk away. Vertigo, I don't think will do too much damage, even with that Black Cleaver kind of completed in inventory. Mags looking for a potential flank angle, but Muffin doing a good job playing close to his AD carry. This is good karma gameplay. If you ever wanted to learn how to pick this champion, this is how you do it. You play with your AD carry, you play safe.
Oh, no.
Tempered Fate will find 2. Call the Forge God. This is their chance. Muffin flashes out, but Duck does not. The AD carry is down. That's a killing spree for Mags. Hecarim able to survive with the Onslaught of Shadows defensively, but Neversaw wants to chase him down. Can't finish him off. It's a 1-for-1 jungler for AD carry, which means that they can't even take advantage to take the dragon. As in the meantime, yeah, look at your minimap. Look at top lane. Your inhibitor's going down at 22 minutes because Akira does not give a damn about what's going on in the rest of the map.
And now he gets to walk away. Excellent cancels coming in from Fortnite as well to delay. So Akira doesn't get picked out here. This completely opens up free soul. And Cloud Soul is such a good soul in general. But do you want to know one of the best champions for Cloud Soul that's present in this game we usually don't see in competitive? It's the horse. The horse is going to absolutely love this bonus move speed.
The horse on a horse week against Cloud Soul. You could not write this better. This is absurd. Our producer's so excited that the horse is succeeding on horse week as Akira chasing down Fails here is going to cancel out that recall. Look at how much damage the little ghoulies are doing. What are you supposed to do against this guy? He's level 15. It's 23 minutes in the game.
Yeah, well, we'll finally have at least one ornament printed here eventually for Havoc.
I hope it goes to Mags. Honestly, as much as I want it to be on that Infinity Edge, Ari wants to wait for that death cap. Upgraded Trinity Force might be the way to go, as Herald is going to be popped in bottom lane to help out Akira on the split push. And if more than one member goes to respond to Akira, which they have to clear this wave, Baron's going to disappear.
I mean, Baron is gone. The tower is even gone. They look so split on their decision making here. And what's crazy,
trying to stay out of vision. The to try and make that play a little bit slower as they send 3 now to deal with Akira. Now stuck in the 1v3. The Herald's there. You can click on it to try and get out, but you waited too long. Bobby will be able to kill that one off, and they'll take the shutdown gold as Mags, desperation, trying to get into this Baron pit for a steal, but the take is too quick. Duck will take him down to get his revenge, and now with Baron buff and Soul in hand, a near 10,000 gold lead at 24 minutes. Death Cards are going to stampede down the mid lane. The hooves of the Horse of Death are marching for the season of SGR. And how long can they avoid the Reaper now? Havoc takes up that ace in the hole. Tempered Fate doesn't find much value. Duck on the front line with those Karma Shields. So damn hard to get out of this lane. The cannon creep just gonna poke down the turret slowly but surely. And the siege will continue. Who needs 4 horsemen when you just have the 1 in Vertigo? Death Cards looking for the finish here. Looking for the second inhibitor. Looking for the third inhibitor. Sorry, I forgot. The bottom lane one also died because Akira in his lane absolutely thriving. Bobby's gonna eat a little bit of poke here. He'll get some back. The inhibitor staying strong for now. They're not going to be able to push it on this one, but you see the waves in bot in top. They have to be responded to.
All right, so I just have like the most Oh, Duck. We'll hold that thought. As well. Okay, we're good. I was a little worried, but we're good. Vertigo is so fast. Look at this. He's so fast.
I really thought he was going to ulti over the wall just for kicks there.
Also, look, right, they have Shirelias. If he pops ult and Ghost and everything, he's going to have so much.
He's just looking. Havoc, gonna take up that Spiraling Despair now. Plenty of damage onto the Ord, but he's tanking enough with that Protoplasma Harness as well. But the first Nexus turret already taken down. The Caitlyn and the Yorick do so damn much damage to these structures. Call the Vortigon. We'll find Duck. Mags looking onto the backline, but so is Vertigo, forced to use the ultimate defensively. Mags cannot get anything done without the support of the squad, who now have to run in fear of Hecarim, of Yorick, of the entirety of Death Cards, who have pulled the final one from their deck. Moonlight Vigil does not get enough done. Akira will fall, but so will the rest of SGR, as their season is coming to an end with a triple kill for Duck, who wants a little more inside the Nexus. They can't kill Fails, but it does not matter. Death Cards punch their ticket to finals.
I mean, dominant showcase game 2 and game 3. Duck has 13 kills in this game. Vertigo pulls out the Hecarim.
Is that 21 combined kills?
Yeah, that is an absurd
deaths?
stat line as well. Like, I mean, he definitely did die this game a couple times, but you know, that's okay. Duck, it's okay, man. You know, 2 deaths.
Over the course of these last 2 games.
Two deaths is not bad. 2 deaths is not bad, won't lie. But let's be honest here, okay? The better team was just Death Cards. Like game 1. Maybe game 1 is what really rattled them, and then game 2, there's just no coming back. Like, I usually don't want to give analysis about like internals and the psychology about the team and how their mentals are doing, because for the most part, teams are hard to read. But it felt like this game as well. It just looked like they were so exasperated after game 1 and game 2 on the side of SGR that there was just no hope.
Better team did end up taking today. Unfortunately for Stasis Gaming Resurgence, it does mean their season is over. They played a great season. They ended up making playoffs in a really cutthroat division. Titan Immortal was a tight race this year. It was 10 teams, top 4 make the playoffs. Making it to that top 4 was already an accomplishment in itself. Unfortunately, they don't get further, and we don't get to see players like Neversaw further on in finals, which I think a lot of us were excited to see. Neversaw has been such a great player throughout the regular season, but unfortunately, it just doesn't end up working out for them this time, and Death Cards are a scary team to be staring down the barrel of, whoever does end up winning on the other side of the bracket between Final Boss and Mint Menthol. Either way, you're looking at a tough matchup.
Yeah, I think, Caitlyn, this game, 32k damage, right? Duck and Muffin had, for the most part, they had the number in the bot lane the entire time. Game 1, a little bit slippery because, you know, Duck, unfortunately, getting caught out a lot due to the pick comp provided by SGR and playing Ashe. Not really all his fault, though. And it didn't seem to matter in Game 2 and Game 3. Every problem and every criticism ever levied against Death Cards was immediately fixed up. As Fortnite as well, kind of an unsung MVP candidate here this series, because not only was the Vygar game good, not only was the Wei game good, game 1 as well. Fantastic across the board playing against Never Saw the Victor, did pretty well into the Syndra, never really felt all that pressured. In fact, almost found a few solo kills of his own into the the Syndra early on the Victor, which is very rare. You usually never get to see that kind of thing. So Fortnite playing incredibly well. Vertigo, I mean, pulling out the Hecarim and performing is just insane.
It's
Just
how it's
insane.
done. My personal MVP though, I think I have to give it to Muffin. I always like shouting out the supports, and Muffin had a series. The Seraphine in game 1 looked so clean, and this Karma in game 3 as well was just fantastic stuff. In the right position, good build path, good itemization, good movement, good shields, good timing. Everything was perfect, and that's what you need to be when you're playing an enchanter. It's not like you're playing an engaged support where the team is really relying on you to get the engage. You have to be there to follow up the team. You have to be there to support them. And Duck probably would have had 3 or 4 more deaths, I feel, in this game if Muffin was not in the right place at the right time, wasn't providing the good shields, wasn't there. I have to give it to Muffin. I always love shouting out the supports.
Well, I mean that's fair. I think, I mean it's hard. Everyone I think on this Death Guards roster played great today. Akira, for the most part, had Havoc's number the entire time. Yorick, unfortunately, this game got behind due to a very ill-timed gank by Mags to punish him.
But then it
Which
just didn't
kind of put
matter.
him on the
He
back.
played
And then
side
it didn't
lane.
matter. He literally just played side lane. And because Caitlyn had gotten such a big lead, he could afford to play the side lane. Like, he didn't have to be there. They were winning fights without him, despite the Ornn being in every single fight. That card's like, what, I can't say enough.
Once again, it feels bad to say for SGR. Their season comes to an end here. It was a good regular season. They had a great showing. Unfortunately, just couldn't show up in these semis when it mattered most. And for Death Cards, congratulations again, punching your ticket to the finals to face the winner of Final Boss 18 and Mint Menthol Light. But that's going to be it for us tonight. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. I've been with you, Britty. That's been Aussie, now below me. Golden and Loki, our producer and observer, making sure everything runs as smoothly as possible in the background. Again, we appreciate you all being here. And we will see you next week for the last week of Immortal, this split, the finals. Have a good night.